good one too, but you're like, that's not ethical thing to do, because
Right.
you have capabilities of doing things and looking into people, and when you're emotionally involved, that tends to kind of steer your moral compass, so to say. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't know. I guess maybe it's different in Oklahoma. Apparently, the corruption's just, far and wide, far and wide. Ow! Just pop myself in the chin. All right, share screen.
Does everybody? Oh, I get what you said.
It's gonna cost you though.
That was a good one.
Oh, okay, touche, Eddie. At least you're not going over there and watching it on the other side of the pond, so I'll allow it. The reason we're all behind is because I haven't been live in 11 days. 11 days.
All right, so today we're really lucky to have Kathy Bingham on the podcast. And Kathy is a private investigator. She has a very unique relationship with the Noah Presgrove case. So we wanted to have her on. She's been working the case since the beginning. In fact, she's done a lot of interviews with a lot of the players in the case. And we thought, after we talked to Dalen and Robin, and we talked to a bunch of people, everyone told us we had to talk to Kathy. So we're so happy to have you on, Kathy, and would love to ask you a ton of questions. We've had a ton of questions, as well as the public has a ton of questions. And for you to be boots on the ground, first off, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you became a private investigator, because you just recently became a licensed private investigator, correct?
That's correct.
Red flag numero uno.
No shit.
I've been one now about a year and a half now.
Oh, good. Red flag number 2. So that would mean what? About the time that this happened, she was like, fresh off the. I mean, what, a year and a half? It's been about almost a year for Noah, so, I mean, we're talking 6 months or less? Okay.
Dang.
So tell us what motivated you at this point in your life to start becoming a private investigator, because you're a grandma.
Yes, I am, and a great grandmother.
And a great
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I'm a grandmother of 9 grandchildren.
Wow.
One more on the way. And then I have 1 great grandson.
God bless you. God bless you.
I love my family. I love family. But about between 10 and 13 years ago, my nephew, Damian Davidson, he was.
Why did she have to think about her nephew's last name?
I was just gonna say, like, what is it with people forgetting?
Damian, I mean, I don't think there would be any hesitation there. That is a little bizarre. Red flag number 0, Trace.
Was autistic, nonverbal autistic.
Is this a joke? And how do you go from 10 to 13 years? That's a big gap. Was it 10, 11, 12? I mean, that would be something that would be pretty, like, imprinted on the brain. And if you don't know the exact year, you could just said, went missing in the year and said it. But it's almost like...
They got to think of it. Give them
exactly. Yeah, right. And you usually don't have to remember the truth.
Right.
Just saying. Just comes natural.
What did I tell the last person?
Yeah. What did I say publicly?
Yep.
Let me get my notes.
And it was storming. We had a big storm down here, big flood down here.
She can't remember his last name, but she can remember what the weather was like?
Yeah.
Oh. Sorry. Numero 4. Because What the hell? Like, that's a little bizarre.
This is gonna be one of those ones where like she's for sure about some information, but
Mhm.
she doesn't know about this information. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's gonna like we're gonna be talking in circles. I can tell already because
Like,
she knows she's paying
tell you-
attention to detail about the irrelevant shit, but the shit that matters, oh, just slips your mind.
It's like I'm
You
gonna
can see
tell
where
you
this
the
is going.
truth, but I'm lying.
Yeah, I'll tell you the truth. I'll just leave out the parts that are the most important, you know, which is definitely lying by omission. Well, I don't know. According to what she's about to say, she's related to Noah, but I've heard through the grapevine that she's related to Brylan, which is the one in the video from the party that slaps Noah and takes off running.
Takes off running, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The one that Mikey stayed with, right?
Yeah, the one that they switched spots while they were, one was on the floor and the other one was on the couch, and then whenever Kaden woke back up, they had switched, and they had the one was on the floor and the other one was on the couch. Yep. Yeah. Noah's family, she's trying to protect them, I think, but I don't know. No, because I know what I know, and I know most of the information that she has, until she got called out about it publicly, which is, if you guys go back like several live streams, probably almost a month ago, that kind of happened in real time, like when on one of my live streams. But the reason why it happened that way, and the person who went public with it did it that way, was because she was lying and acted like it didn't happen, and was not sharing this information with the police or the family. And that's just unacceptable on any degree. I don't give a fuck what your reasoning is. That's baby back bullshit. Because what are you doing if not to give it to the family and police, but at least and if you're not doing it for neither, you are fucking suspicious and wasting my time, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, like why would you be withholding it? And who are you to dictate what they can handle as a family? Like, bitch, sit down.
Right.
Sorry, not sorry.
Good point.
And he got out of the house early in that morning, and we couldn't find him. And it took 2 weeks to find him. Well, everybody come down from everywhere, all over the United States. We searched for him for 2 weeks, and there was a particular search group that came down and searched with me day in and day out, and went through, the roller coaster with me through that.
I'm so sorry.
Are you kidding me? Where's this is some Stevie grade acting right here. Bia, no, that's the one with the gun was Isaac. Brylan is the one from that same video where the one that's actually messing around with Noah and playing the slap game or whatever, slaps him and takes off running. The blonde kid, he's also at the end of the video where he's like, country pimp. That's Brylan.
Right.
And then he says Mike Tyson and points it, and the one that he points it to, that's Mikey. Oh, fuck, Cousin's here. Be quiet, y'all. Don't talk about him no more. He gets a little emotional. Hi, cousin. All good things. All good things.
Thunder.
Anyway, we didn't have a very good outcome. We had a horrible, tragic outcome. But for me to see how this search team came and worked, and not only them, but everybody else in the community, I wanted to pay back to my community and to everybody here. So I decided to join the search team. I worked a full-time job, took care of my mother that was elderly, and worked.
Do you really have to say she's elderly? I mean, we can look at you and kind of, you know, here we go with the unnecessary detail.
Learning.
But this is supposed to be a play on, okay, well, she took while she had a full-time job, she takes care of her elderly mother. Okay, well, obviously elderly is comes with the package. I think she meant sickly, like in need of care. So that's supposed to just be a play on your heartstrings and an overall like a tick on her character box and make it okay. Look, she just dedicated all of this free time and she's just such this nice giving person. But then whenever you get into the nitty-gritty of it, you find out, well, damn, well, how did you have enough time to do that when you got all these bank fraud charges and theft charges? I mean, how did you have time to do anything commutable? Asking for a friend. Well, and she don't mention none of this in that podcast, which is very weird.
Oh.
Because it was way more recently than whatever the fuck she's talking about. This 10 to 12 years ago. I mean, I'm talking like like 2016. But what do I know? I just googled some shit.
Well, Bia is asking, what does all this have to do with Noah? Well,
nothing.
Bia,
it's just supposed to show who. It's supposed to make you think she's just to not question her integrity because she's got such a good character and good heart. That's what she's trying to slam down your throat right now. Been married 78, 75 million times, so it's really hard. I'll give it to her. It is really hard to find anything because her last name has changed so many times in the last decade. It was a challenge, but I liked those. I do. Yeah, I guess it kind of comes with the package, these fraud. How do you become a PI with a felony? I guess that's some Oklahoma shit.
Maybe that's why it's pro bono, because she's.
Oh, that's a good idea. I'll Google some shit.
You know what I'm saying?
That makes way more sense. Besides the fact that she's come, well, she ain't said that yet. It gets way more unethical by her own account of why she's here.
Searches. So I ended up going to school, getting FEMA certified for search and rescue and disaster.
Can you go to school and get FEMA certified?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well. Can I get a trailer?
Yeah.
Cut and shoot's being greedy.
So I had that under my belt. And then I was on a search last year before, and I was approached by one of the search investigators. I don't know if he's actually an investigator, but I know he was on the head of the search team. And apparently someone had told him that I had done some things, and he approached me about it and told me I couldn't ask questions because I was not an investigator, that I could got in trouble. And I told him, I said, well, then I can fix that. So one of the ladies that I'm very close to on one of the search teams, she had been asking me to go to PI school. So whenever they told me that not to be asking questions, it made me mad. And I'm the one that you don't tell me I can't do something, because I will break my neck to prove you wrong. So that's what
Sounds like us.
I got into PI school, and I've been knocking doors down since.
Good for you.
God bless you.
But I love what I do, and I do what I love.
Good.
Fantastic. All right. Well, so tell us a little bit about the origin story of how you got involved in Noah's case.
Well, on September 4th.
This game, you're not.
2023. Early that morning, I got a phone call from my grandson. And
Early that morning. So this is right after it happened. Okay, keep in mind, he was found right at 6 a.m. Police were on scene on Monday morning. So early morning, that means it had to have been somewhere in that same window. So how the hell did was her grandson at the party? How the fuck did he know to call her? And oh wait, the plot's about to thicken.
he had asked me if I heard about anything down in Terrell, and I said no. I was asking him what was going on, and he was very distraught. And I told him, I said, "What's going on?" And he was telling me that somebody was found on the side of the road, deceased, and so I could tell it was more in depth. So I asked him, I said, "Is it somebody in the family?" And he said, "Yes." And I said,
Why the fuck would you say that? I thought you just said he said he didn't know who it was. And why would you say, is it family? Bitch, are you speaking in code? What the fuck am I missing? Bizarre.
Why would you have to keep a secret? You know what I mean? Like, I don't.
Right. And if any of this is true, we got a big problem because not only was people stomping all over the crime scene, apparently people were releasing it to the public. Because the road was blocked off for several miles, so it ain't like somebody drove by and seen it. That we're not already still there on scene, both of the Tylers. So what the fuck? How does this lady's grandson know? Ask him for a friend. And this is why I got curious and started doing my own research, because this just left a really bad taste in my mouth. And then I found the shit that I found and was like, huh, now this is making way more sense.
I said, "Who?" And he said, "Noah." And I've known Noah since he was little bitty, a baby. And my grandson and Noah are first cousins. So,
What? What?
Her grandson
And Noah.
and Noah are first cousins.
So, what?
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Take your time.
So he begged me and asked me to find out. He told me, he said, "Grandma, get on it, please. Please find out what happened to Noah." I said, "Okay."
Hours after it happened, at this point, why would you not anticipate that the police were going to find out what happened?
Right. Very good, very good.
Why would your 6-month, fresh out of PI school licensed grandma, who apparently not only has an emotional connection, has some type of blood relation or married? I think the reason why she's wording it like that is probably because one of her 11 million husbands is probably where the relation comes from. They had it blocked off on both sides. Jam sandwiches. They had traffic. You couldn't get through going either way. They had detours and officers, that were rerouting traffic. We'll get there, Bia.
So that morning, I couldn't even finish breakfast. I left Bronx. My husband took me home.
My husband took me home. Where were you?
I think it sounds like a restaurant or something.
Huh. Huh.
I immediately called down to Jefferson County, talked to them down there, got in contact with OSBI at first because OSBI, they said, was taking the case. Then once I talked to them and I explained how and why I wanted to be involved, they agreed, but wanted me to agree with them that I would turn everything over to them, because I didn't want to step on any toes. I know how important an investigation on something like that is. So, and I never did go.
Something like what? This is the butt crack of dawn,
Right.
the first morning when he's found. I mean, something like what? Why would you feel the need that your services would even be required, considering it just happened? Police hadn't even fucked up
Right. You
yet.
don't know if they're hit and run. Yeah.
He hadn't even had his autopsy complete yet. He's still on the side of the road.
Yep.
This is bizarre.
Go down to the scene. I did not. That was their scene. I didn't want to get involved in that. I wanted to.
Way to pick and choose when to have boundaries. How would you even know where the scene was?
If you don't go down,
And why would you go there anyway?
If you don't go down to the scene, how do you know what to ask for?
How do you know that it's that something's not right if you didn't see it?
Right. Like, how do you know? Oh, is that how he? Like, you don't know if that's how he was found.
You don't know if he was. Yeah, and at this point, there wasn't any stories being told. This is hours after it happened. Hasn't even hit news yet. His family hasn't even been notified yet, from the sounds of it.
Right.
Not officially by anybody other than Caleb.
Right.
Not by any police officers or anything. Bizarre.
To jump into interviews. I wanted to start talking with family members. I wanted to start talking to the kids, because eventually I knew that I would see what we were dealing with later on. So, and then I talked to OHP. I've worked beside. I'm not working for. Let me clarify something. I am not working for OSBI. I am not working for OHP or no law enforcement. I'm working along the side of them. So anything that I get, it goes to them. And then they go over the evidence and whatever. So that's
So you recorded. So you did the first recorded interviews of a lot of the people that were at the party, correct?
As far as I know, I did.
What the fuck, lady?
Like I said, I was not there on the scene, so if the OHP or any of the investigators had done any interviews at that.
Why are you going and talking to people before the police? Like, what are you doing?
How do you know who to talk to?
What are you doing?
And if you're working
What?
alongside OHB, you would have known if they would have interviewed people.
Right. Or they would have told you, hey, sit back or the fuck down. You're impeding on an investigation. I mean, what the fuck? It's one thing now to go asking people around and sniffing around because the police have had the opportunity to do it and haven't, and it's been a year. But when we're talking about fresh fucking hours after it happens, what are you doing? And why are you doing it? Who told you that you could? Pro bono?
Well, somebody from some family member asked to go do her thing.
Yeah, but what was that thing? Was that thing to find out what happened, or to find out what happened and make sure that the people that are responsible for it don't go to jail? Because boy, it's starting to seem a little bit more like she's batting for the other fucking team. Because if there's ever a trial or an investigation, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I don't know if y'all have ever fucking sat through a trial or even virtually and listened to one. Every fucking thing this woman has is not admissible in court.
Right.
She knows that.
Well, she's saying
Not only
that
is it not admissible in court, but it could fuck up any actual evidence that has been gathered because of the way that it was gathered by her, and she got to them first.
especially
Fuck.
saying that she's working alongside OHB.
What the actual fuck?
She just put her integrity on the line to say, I'm working alongside with OHB. So any evidence that I have to hand over to them.
But she doesn't, though. That's by the time we get towards the end of this, and they ask her flat out. I think Cindy asked her flat out. So you are giving information, and she, well, you know, I'm working on it, bitch. I thought you was giving it to him as you was getting it. Hello. Can't be both. And if you have information that you're holding back, that is no longer just not ethical. That is a fucking crime, boo-boo. You're no better than them scroungy fucks. Coming up here talking about everybody needs to speak up. Well, okay, apparently people have, and you ain't passing the information along. So that's a fucking problem. You don't get to pick and choose and cherry pick what gets to go to who. You give it as you get it, like you said you would do. Right? Right. Why are you not doing that? Why are you saying you are if that's not what you're doing? What are you trying to do here? Because if you're trying to fuck shit up, you're doing good at that. If this case ever fucking seen the light of day in court, it's so fucked between the OSBI and the fucking OHP and this goddamn buffoon. Nothing is admissible. Nothing is going to hold any water in court. You wouldn't even need a fucking good defense attorney to. I doubt the only thing that would really stick would be the fucking social hosting, and that would probably be ticketable, finable. She wouldn't even do any time in jail.
Right.
But the evidence as far as to what happened to Noah, oh man, it's all circumstantial and it's all fucked because of them. It almost just makes you wonder if that wasn't the intended goal, because how do you just fuck shit up that bad on accident? If so, then you should just fucking turn your license in and turn your badge in, all y'all officers. Because that is not acceptable to, like, just be waking up and starting your fucking day, and that's how bad you just fuck shit up on accident. You shouldn't carry a gun. Should be in a padded room. No forks, nothing. Just, fucking straw, and that's it. Like, what the fuck? I've seen better police work in fucking Holmes County, Mississippi. And if you know, you know.
That time I was not aware of. So as far as I know, I think I did get some of the very first interviews.
Well, based upon what we know and what we've investigated, you did. Because when we talked to a lot of the people, some of the kids that were there, and they didn't get interviewed for quite a while afterwards. So it sounds like you probably were the first person that got those interviews. And can you tell us a little bit about those interviews? And you don't have to mention names, but some of the information that you yielded from that, and what did it do for you as far as, in your mind, move the case forward?
There was a couple of the kids that I interviewed. I've done.
Stop being weird and saying kids. They were all adults. Like, they're all adults. Stop being weird.
A couple of interviews with two certain individuals that I would 99.9% say that they were telling the truth.
Oh my God, lady. Please don't tell me you're just because you got a gut feeling. What the fuck? Why would you even say something as careless as that? I think you got indigestion, bitch. Sit down.
Okay.
Say that one more time because your phone just kind of chirped.
I'm sorry. I would say 99.9% that there was two of the individuals that I had spoke to is telling the truth.
Out of how many that you talked to?
Oh gosh, out of
Put your fucking phone down, lady.
let me see.
There is electromagnetic energy in that pyramid between
Probably about 6,
Okay.
maybe.
Yeah.
What the fuck? She had to
So,
search
So
that
only
far
out of the
back in
6,
her
only
memory?
2.
It took her that
Okay,
long.
so let's see. That would mean what? Caden, Jack. I know the 2 girls didn't talk to her. I know Jasmine didn't talk to her because I've read on all the Facebook posts where they said, "Oh, we're not talking to you, crazy lady." So that would be what? Probably Mikey, Brylan, Isaac, and who else?
Jack?
Oh, probably Colton. I digress.
Jasmine, no?
No, she wouldn't talk to her. She tried,
Oh.
but her dad intercepted and said, "You're not." Apparently, everybody's intercepted because they wouldn't talk to People Magazine either, or the camera crews, which I'll save that for later.
Yeah.
Warlock Rap's a fucking idiot.
Who you think are telling the truth?
From what I can tell.
And what made you believe that they were telling the truth? What was their body language? Was there?
It was some of the body language. Number one, when
Are you a body language expert? Did you get certified in
The only reason
analyzing
she
body
said
language?
The only reason she said that is because they had mentioned it. She was gonna say
Exactly.
something first, but
She was gonna say I had a gut feeling.
right.
and also I had talked to some of the other kids, and the some of them just like a
Their
couple of them
stories
broke
can
down,
corroborate.
and I mean, and they told me things that had happened that, like, if they would have been not telling me the truth, I don't think they would have told me about that. So they didn't want to. I think they was being honest because of things that they did tell me, in which I did look into, and everything that I could tell, they were telling me the truth. And I've interviewed them twice. One of them I've interviewed, I think, 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I've talked to these individuals, their story has been 100% the same.
Got it. And I think that's the big problem with this case is that from the get-go, from what we've learned, and the people that we've talked to, and we've talked to pretty much all of Noah's family, and that there's a lot of inconsistencies. People's stories were changing from time to time whenever they were talking. And, obviously, these are young people. They were at a party. They were drinking. There's some element of people not registering what happened. But it seemed that from what they were telling us and what we're learning, that the stories kept on changing. And there were inconsistencies, and especially with talking about Jack Newton. And he went back on, he went on News Nation. He said one thing, and people have told us that doesn't match up what he's told people from the get-go.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, he is he was Noah's best friend. So there's a couple of things that could have been happening. You're upset, there's grief, there's drinking for 4 days, partying, maybe other substances, whatever. But there's a few things in his story that don't make sense.
Yes, and I did his first interview, and some of the things that he had told me in the interview that I had done was not consistent at all with everything else. I don't know if he saw something and it scared him and he's afraid to come forward, and or I don't know. I mean, there's something there that's got this kid scared, or
Easy with that fucking.
So what would make her say? First of all, is it ethical for a PI to come on and start speculating?
No.
Oh, I didn't think so. And better yet, why are you taking sympathy for the lying little bastard? If nothing else, if he's scared, he needs to be fucking scared of lying under oath. That's what he needs to be scared of, not the fucking Howards.
Here's the thing. If okay, let's just say, like she said, if he saw something, you tell her. She's not in the, a police officer, so you don't have to worry about perjuring yourself or whatever, making yourself look guilty or some shit. So you can tell her, and then she might be able to give you some fucking, get a lawyer, motherfucker, or some bullshit like that. But yeah.
Oh.
something, because bless his heart, every time he says something, it's a little bit different.
At Vistaprint, we print everything to show off your brand. So you can print it like Simon's Restaurant and out.
And I mean, I know he's having a hard time knowing that his best friend's gone and will never be able to, see him or talk to him or tell him their deep, dark secrets like they did. But all of these kids that were there.
What? Tell him all of his deep, dark secrets like he did.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
She could be projecting something.
And I mean, I know he's having a hard time knowing that his best friend's gone and will never be able to, see him or talk to him or tell him their deep, dark secrets like they did. But all of these kids that were there at that party, apparently they all saw, I guess, from what I understand, went down there and saw him. So you can imagine what it's done to these children, but there's, like I said, the two individuals that I did discuss, I believe that they really are telling the truth because they want justice for Noah.
Did their story stay consistent?
Yes.
Okay. I want to back up a little bit because you talked about Jack being, you said there's a sense of fear there and you feel like he's scared. When we talked to you yesterday, you told us that right now, a lot of those kids are scared. Can you talk a little bit about that?
There's been, I do know the two that we feel that has been honest. I do know that they've been getting threats. I don't know who from, but I do know for a fact they've been getting threats. So like I said, but it's kind of like the body language that I'm seeing from these kids. When I've done interviews, they're very hesitant, when I get them. I've talked to a couple of them 2 or 3 times. And there's one that I did, I think maybe two or 3 interviews with. And this individual is just like, he's trying to stay on, remember what he's said in the past, but then just little things that he's saying is not matching up, So I have taken classes in statement deception. So I'm kind of listening for certain keywords, and I've been studying that. So and I'll go back and listen to all the interviews, and that's kind of helping me too, because I go by a guideline from what some books that I've got on deception and lying, and so I'm kind of putting that together. And that's one thing with the other two that I can tell that has told the truth, that I feel like is telling the truth, because I haven't found any of that deception.
Mm-hmm.
But if these kids have don't have nothing to hide,
about when you speak with all the time, it's like, why are you umming all the time? Because you're giving yourself a chance to think of how to say and stay.
Yeah, if she's a deception detective, then she'd know that is a very fucking big keyword on detecting deception.
Yep.
Just like and like.
And then she just fucked up when she said she couldn't remember. She was pretty sure of herself when she said she gave one person did one person 3 interviews and the rest 2. And now she was like, one of them 2 or 3, and then what you just said fucking like 10 minutes ago, you gave 3 interviews, the rest of them you did 2.
Eddie, actually, it was Jack, Caden, Brylan, Mikey, and Isaac that came to the scene.
Yes, and so that's another thing. She said that all the kids had went and saw the body. Now, when you say that, you got to be specific. Do you mean the girls went down there as well?
Well, no, that she's just saying, I think, without meaning to say that, all the kids that she talked to, because that just so happens to be the group of kids that I believe that she spoke with.
Well,
because I know she didn't talk to the girls at all. They wouldn't talk to her.
Here's the thing. It's like, okay, so like I just thought, like, well, okay, does that mean the girls as well? Even though I know the girls didn't go down there.
Right, and she didn't talk to him. Right, so she's
big like that and say, well, I know they all went down. All the kids went down there and saw the body. Did that mean the girls too? So
yeah, all the kids you talked to, right?
You need to be specific about what the fuck you're talking about.
Right, because you should be more concerned about putting misinformation out there than you are about getting credibility on whatever you're trying to do here.
Right. Not only that, but it doesn't leave for people like me to think like, okay, is this lady talking about the girls too? I mean,
right.
This is an important thing. You don't leave shit like this for guessing games and shit like that.
Except especially when there's already so much speculation out there, you don't need to leave any wiggle room.
Right.
Not if you're going to be someone that's professionally working on this case, because there's been enough fuckery.
Right. And if she did buy some books about, body language and stuff like that, that's cool. That's gravy. It's not a 100% accuracy.
Fuck me, man. I can buy a book about fucking sign languages. Does that make me a fucking... what the fuck? Does that make you an expert because you can read a book?
And she said, mostly it's their body language. Really? Because, what if somebody's just... a fucking fidgety kind of person.
You can't do statement analysis and body language, because one of them you have to completely shut your mind off for one to be able to accurately do the other. You cannot analyze somebody's statement and only their statement based on verbiage and what they say, and then say, "Oh, I study body language," because one of them will completely throw off the other one.
Right. So are you paying more attention to their body and not their words?
You can't do both, bitch. You're not fucking Einstein. Who miss me with these? Oh.
Well, she's not a seasoned professional. You know what I mean?
Did FEMA teach you that?
She's not a seasoned professional, so it's like, yeah, lady, stop worrying about. It'd be like, yeah, I didn't like the way they were wearing their clothes, so that's why I think they're more guilty than other people. What the fuck does that have anything to do with anything?
Their eyes darted to the left like Betty's. They are fucking in on it.
Now, here's the thing. Okay, FBI and police interviewers that, sometimes when people look up and to the left, and they go, they're searching for something in their head to come up.
Right, but that's not the only deciding factor. There's other indicators that have to present themselves with it for it to be something that is considered to be a red flag.
Correct. And I don't think they would.
It by itself means nothing, because people are nervous in such situations like that when they're being questioned. You have anybody in their natural mind would be a little nervous or anxious, and you have to take all of that into account. Is this person a naturally nervous person? Are they anxious? Are they fidgety? Like you have to, and she doesn't know any of that. She's fucking 6 months in at this point.
Right, and here's the thing: they would be less fidgety and less nervous with her than actually police.
Exactly, especially considering they all fucking know each other.
Right. So I mean, it's just, I'm not, trying to down this lady, but it's like, okay,
fuck this lady.
You are a newbie. You know what I mean? Like this has got to be her first case or some shit.
Oh, but it's sloppy. It's messy, and I don't even know why she decided to take it upon herself to start working on this case anyway. Apparently hours after it happened. Fuck sloppy and just she's uneducated. This is crossed that threshold into fucking suspicious.
Right. And her doing this interview right now, I noticed that she's like not looking down to see if she has notes. She's going off of memory and shit. Like, how come you're not taking?
Yeah, where's your fucking big ass notebooks full of notes, bitch? I could give you a couple of mine. I got them every fucking where.
If I'm doing an interview, I'm recording that shit or writing that shit down so I know what the fuck
She does not one time in this entire interview refer to a notebook, refer to notes, refer to a case file, refer to anything other than looking up and going, Exactly.
So
where's your fucking handy dandy notebook?
What it does is it makes you sound very, very unsure
and unprofessional.
That's not good.
You should have a case file right there on handy. It looks like you're sitting at your desk because you want everybody to see all your little fucking degrees and certificates behind you on the wall. Where's your fucking case file notes? We say, I don't remember the exact day. Well, you should have it right there on file, color coded and tabbed and very easily to get to.
Again, this is an important thing. Like, I'm fucking bad at dates, just like I am at time zones. But with something like this, I'm gonna know what fucking time zone I'm in, so I know not to call Fumbler thinking it's fucking California time.
But he still does.
But I still do. What are you doing, Fumbler? Fucking sleeping.
What are you sleeping? It's 2. No, bitch, it's 3 a.m. You're right, cousin. She seems like the town snitch.
And I don't have a job either.
So there's that.
They need to come forward and tell somebody. If they want to call me, that's fine. If they want to call me, they don't even have to tell me who they are. Just tell me what happened. They can call me anonymously and tell me, say, hey, this is what happened. Tell me where it happened. Give me something, some kind of clue. Because if this was your family, your brother, your cousin, your grandson, or you need to put yourself in our shoes. Because this is not only, I've had this with Damien, but it wasn't, Damien was his was like an accident. He got out of the house. But I don't know if you remember the case down in Belma, Oklahoma, where the little girl went into the store and the clerk killed her. The Brayley Henry story.
Yeah, we know that story. It's horrifying.
That was my little cousin.
Oh my gosh.
So that's why
I'm.
Oh goddamn! Now we got a cousin. And why did she smile when she said that?
Because it's like you said, they just gave her the sympathy fucking factor. So it's like, so you know about the case? Yeah, I'm related to that, so it gives me some significance. So.
And this is what lights the fire under my ass, because I've had all this tragedy and all this misjustice that's been in my family. So I just had to step up and fight for Noah.
Right.
Bitch, I am buying that shit.
I'm saying, now do you understand why it's so important?
Sure.
Because we got that taken care of when he's going away and he'll never see the daylight again, and then he'll get the death sentence. He got the death sentence. But
and I'm sure you were right at the forefront of that, right? You were the sole factor in why he went to prison. Come on, man.
Like, she wasn't an investigator at the time, I don't believe. So why is she saying we?
Just why it's so important to us.
No, I don't know. That just sounds weird. I have to think about that.
This is why it's hit so hard for me.
Yeah, you got a personal connection to these losses.
Absolutely. And Noah was just looked like such a wonderful kid.
He was a hot mess. That boy, he would bend over backwards to help anybody. And he loved to help kids. I know they were talking about, there was a kid, I guess he was trying out for the football team, or he wasn't doing real well. And Noah took it upon himself to help him.
How many times she's blinking? Up and to the left, and how many times she's blinking? Rapid blinking.
Right.
And encouraging and mentoring.
I must have bought one of them books too. My bad.
Loved Noah, and it meant so much to that kid that he finally was able to make something, and prosper from Noah's mentoring him. And that's the way Noah was. You know,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's everybody
We've
said the
heard
same
that,
thing.
yeah.
We just had Justin Roy on the podcast just recently, and he said the same thing he did for his son. His son he was a mentor to his son
Yes.
in sports. So
yes,
you get that.
you know,
Let me just stop you real quick, real there.
Mhm.
All these interviews, I just want to clarify for our listeners that everything that you accumulated, all the recordings and interviews and the statements you have, you've already sent that over to the law enforcement, correct?
most of it I have. I'm still getting it all together and making copies and getting everything in order so I can get it over to them. Yes.
Good. And then let's just talk a little bit about.
Okay, like one piece of paper. I gave one piece of paper to him, and I got 100 more that I'm not giving him because I need to put page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4. What the fuck?
Listen, why not you just have faith that they're pretty like intelligent, considering they had to take a little bit more classes than you did to be in the position they're in, that they could probably figure it out themselves and just send it to them and let them figure out the order it belongs in and how to compile it.
Correct.
Considering it's their case to begin with.
You should be giving them, just making copies of your fucking scribble scrabble and giving it to them. And if they have any questions, I'm pretty sure they'll call you and say,
Yeah, why are you doctoring it and chopping and screwing it and whoa, red
Why
flag
you-
number what number are we on?
why are you ending sentences with a period and then starting a sentence with and?
Stevie, I know you're in there.
Oh shit.
I do too. I learned how to detect deception with the deception detective.
Not that what you think happened, but of the information that you yielded from those interviews, what do you know happened?
Well, from what I really didn't get a whole lot from everybody thought, that he was hit by a car, ran over. But from what I have, the evidence, and some of the kids have told me that they think that he was not ran over by a car. There apparently was an argument with some other individuals with Noah, and then Noah walked off. There's been different ones saying that they gave Noah a shower. And so there's a bunch of consistency in that. That's one of the things that I'm working on. We know from the autopsy report, I do have a copy of that. I was one of the first ones to receive a copy of that, that it absolutely is not a hit and run. There's just no way.
Yeah, no, I think everybody tends to agree that just based upon the fact that you just have a head wound and you have torso wounds, and his extremities are pretty much just maybe scratched up and not as bad.
It's these kids have been so tight-lipped as what has actually happened. Little bits and pieces are slowly, I feel like, coming out, but we still haven't got the smoking gun yet. But trust me, guys, I got ears and I got eyes all over this place, and I get daily reports from different.
Because you live in that community and you know everybody.
Oh, I know. Yes, I know. It's funny because my brother lives down in Texas, and he comes up and he says, "Good God, is there not anybody you don't know? From police officers, firemen, bank tellers, But I'm one of those people that I'm very sociable. I like to get out. I like to know what's going on in my community, and where I can help in my community. I think a lot of these kids think that because they were going around telling everybody, "Don't talk to the PI, don't talk to the PI, don't talk to the PI." I don't think they realize what a PI does. Yes, we collect information. Yes, we do this, we do that to help law enforcement, but also we want to get their side of the story. We want to get their truth. They think that we're against them. We're not. We're right in the middle. We're not. We don't take sides. We don't. We're there to get information, and whether it's for the prosecution or the defense, we're right there on the fine line. We're the wall that they're going to walk on. That's the way I look at it. We're not there to condemn, and we're not there to scrutinize or anything like that.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on a timeline of what happened that night?
Oh, well,
nope.
At 3:41, someone posted that Noah was missing, and then someone else said that at 4 o'clock they knew that he had died at 4 o'clock. So I don't know. I mean, it's very still up in the air.
Yeah.
I have asked for the call log, but I have been denied that.
OHP denied that?
No, not OHP. Jefferson County.
Got it.
But I had talked to the sheriff down there. He said that he called OHP, and they told him not to give it to me at that time. So I called OHP. OHP did tell me the forms to fill out. So I went to go fill them out back down there at the sheriff's department. But then I was told that due to it was an open investigation, that they wanted OHP's written consent. And OHP says they could not do that. So I've definitely been given the runaround. Otherwise, I could probably put a closer timeline.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know,
Were you able to speak to the gentleman who called 911?
no, I'm not.
After talking to the kids that you did talk to, were you able to formulate any kind of a motive or potential motive? I know this is a big question everybody has. What was the motive? Why would anyone want to kill this kid?
I don't think they intentionally killed him. I don't. I think what happened was, like I said, he had been in an argument with one or two of the other party goers or party people, whatever you want to call them. And I think it might have been over jealousy. You know, I don't know for sure, but the way it sounds and from the information that I'm getting, you know, they got into an argument over another individual or a couple of individuals. I'm not real clear, but I know that they were arguing over someone. And I'm thinking maybe they went to start a fight. You know,
So it sounds like, based upon what you're talking, and I know you're being very kind of cryptic with your answers because I know you have to be because you were holding on to information. I mean, so we get that. So for our listeners, just know that, you know, she's actively working this case, so there is information she can't really talk about. But it sounds like what you're trying to say is that it was a crime of passion that was unintentional, that got out of hand, and someone had to make up a narrative to kind of divert attention from what actually happened. And I just think that if it was an accident, you know, there's remedies for that. You know, there's not, you know, if it wasn't intentional, you know, it's a totally different ballgame. But if it was an accident and you're sitting on information, that's a problem.
Yes.
And that's a huge problem.
And, you know, I know a lot of these kids, you know, and, you know, my kids went to Comanche. You know, my daughter graduated from Comanche. I know a lot of people from Comanche. I lived there for years. So,
So when you're living in this area, you have to leave it, like, cannot take
it
yourself.
still has allowed
it's
her
just
to
so
come out with
heartbreaking
nothing.
because I see these kids and I know their families, you know, and for me to have to go hound them and ask them what happened, you know, they're scared. They don't, and I see the parents and I see their nightmare in their face, you know, like what's going to happen to my kids, you know, and that's why I felt like it was so important that I go try to get to them first, you know, and say, hey guys, talk to me, sit down here and talk to me. Tell me what's going on. Tell me what happened. You know, let me see what I can do to help you with this situation, you know, because I everybody in my family and a lot of people that know me
this whole
will tell
time
you
right
I'm a
now,
fixer.
she's not said once, she's actually telling some truth right there. She's not said, one fucking time.
I try to fix things. I don't like broken, you know, I don't. So that's where, you know, I wish they would come to me and tell me. I'm not going to pass judgment. If it was an accident, it's an accident, you know. Let's fix it. Let's do right by the family. Let's get your conscience cleared, because I know these kids are just I know several of them have had problems in school. I know several of them have been in trouble at school since then. They're having problems focusing. So
this is the kind of secret that eats you alive.
Yes.
This cancer, you know, it gives you a heart attack. It eats you alive from the inside out. And eventually the truth will come out. It always does. And if you're sitting on information that could solve this, somebody's going to talk, and then you're behind the 8 ball. You know, you really want to get out ahead of it and tell the real story, not 8 different versions of a story, because everybody knows it's a lie. You're not fooling anybody, and you're not fooling yourself, and you're not fooling God. You're not fooling anybody.
that's the big one, is the man upstairs. I mean, I'm not a Bible thumper, but
Neither are we.
trust and believe. Karma comes
It's
back.
real.
Oh yes. Yes, it will come back and haunt you till, it's not a good thing. So if they need to come clean, like I said, if they want to contact me, that's fine.
We have people give us tips as well. We turn all of them over to law enforcement. We have been a source of tips for the past 6 years on the Molly and Colt case. And people can call anonymously. Call us, call Kathy, call law enforcement.
Yes.
You don't have to tell them who you are. But there were so many kids at that party. I know some of you know what happened.
Yes, and it's sad because some of the parents refused for the kids to even talk to me.
Because they don't want their kids to be implicated. I understand that.
Let's talk about that, because there's, you know, not long after, and it's still happening, you know, the family who hosted the party, they lawyered up very quickly.
Yes.
And they're not talking. We also heard, not only from you, but a lot of other people, that in that county, that there's a list, an untouchable list of people that just don't.
Jam Sandwiches says, I have questions about this part. What questions do you have, Jam Sandwiches? And this part, meaning this part of what? Like her going, No, I'm just kidding. I think she has some questions. They're going to pop up anytime now. Right now. Okay.
No pressure.
No question.
No pressure. Ding dong, the witches, riches. Right before. Right before what? Girl, ask the question.
Yeah. Be specific, please.
Rewind it? Sure.
Parents refused for the kids to even talk to me.
Because they don't want to call Kathy, call law enforcement.
Yes.
You don't have to tell them who you are. But there were so many.
It's not a good thing. So if
And you're not fooling yourself, and you're not fooling God. You're not fooling anybody.
that's the big one, is the man upstairs. I mean, I'm not a Bible thumper, but
Neither are we.
trust and believe. Karma comes
It's
back.
real.
Oh yes. It will come back and haunt you till, it's not a good thing. So if they need to come clean, like I said, if they want to contact me, that's fine.
We have people give us tips as well. We turn all of them over to law enforcement. We have been a source of tips for the past 6 years on the Molly and Colt case. And people can call anonymously. Call us, call Kathy, call law enforcement.
Yes.
You don't have to tell them who you are. But there were so many kids at that party. I know.
10
Some of you
seconds.
know what happened.
Yes, and it's sad because some of the parents refuse for the kids to even talk to me.
Because they don't want their kids to be implicated. I understand that.
Let's talk about that, because there's, not long after, and it's still happening. The family who hosted the party, they lawyered up very quickly.
Yes.
And they're not talking. We also heard, not only from you, but a lot of other people, that in that county, that there's a list, an untouchable list of people that just don't,
It was the same in Love County. It's not a surprise to us to hear this. We've heard this throughout Oklahoma and different counties all over, that there's a list of people that are considered untouchable. I grew up in a small town in New York. We had a constable. People that lived in Belterre, we knew the constable. We didn't get in trouble. We could drive fast. We knew that. We knew we had that little bit of leeway with the local law enforcement because of who we were and where we lived. And I feel like there's a similar thing happening here in this small town.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do too. But that chain's going to break one day.
Yeah. Oh, it does.
Oh, it does.
And when it does, it's ugly. It's ugly because, when I grew up, someone got wrongly accused of killing their parents. He went to prison for 18 years, and it took 18 years for us to find the truth. But I'll tell you what, truth came out.
Well,
and it will come out no matter what.
Oh, yeah. And it's slowly coming out because I have, talked to some people that actually have been family members of these untouchables.
Yeah.
And that's how I know that there's a list.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm not surprised. I'm just not. We've experienced this so much.
You know how they say money talks, bullcrap walks?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, this is where it is right now, but it's that table's fixing to get broken and the tables are fixing to get turned. That's, you can only go so, you can push your luck only so far.
Have you heard anything about the casino?
Yes.
We heard something about the casino where an eyewitness apparently saw 3 of the boys who were at the party take Noah's hat and put it into the...
Or a hat
that resembled Noah's hat, let me be clear, and put it into a trash can.
Yes.
In the
bathroom.
Yes, I am actually working on that now. I have, I'm waiting on a call back.
It is no measure of sanity to be well adjusted.
That's very suspicious to me.
Yes. So I'm hoping they still have the video so I can go look at it if they will allow me to. If not, then we will have to go and probably get a search warrant if they still have the video.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they still do. I don't know how long they keep those videos, but
Have you talked to the person who made the statement?
yes, I have.
Okay. Did she know who those individuals were? Did she recognize them?
She recognized one of them for sure.
Okay. So we have
have an eyewitness.
Yes.
And an ID.
So knowing that there's so much going on social media, tons of different stories and stupid things, and then some things, little kernels of truth, what do you want us to know facts from what you've been investigating so that it's clear that
the facts is that we know he wasn't ran over, number one. Facts number 2 is we know not everyone, but the majority of them are lying, and we're putting it together and we will find out.
And I think I can say this, and if I can't, we'll beep this out, but I have spoken to Caden's mother and to Caden, and have spoken to him, and we believe him. We believe his story.
Yes, absolutely.
You believe his story as well?
Absolutely.
I just wanted to get that on the record because I think it's important.
Now, let me clear something up. I did an interview with Caden's mother, and we were discussing everything, and we were discussing about a video that was out there. So
This is unequivocally, without a shadow of a doubt, I know for a fact, I will not say how or to what degree I know, this bitch is lying.
Okay, now when she was saying that, the lady was saying, the interviewer was like, yeah, we talked to Caden and Caden's mom and we believe him in this and that. When she's trying to agree with them, notice she's like 100% right, but she's shaking her
Right,
head
and then she
no.
follows it up with, okay, let me go ahead and get ahead of this with what she's about to say with this video with Caden's mom, because I believe them, but I don't want you to believe this part. And she's lying, and it's weird that she's lying.
Roll that beautiful plane.
And I also know that the shit that she just said about the casino, I don't know why she's talking all cryptic. The girl came forward and said who she was publicly. I've been talking to the girl. Like, she wants it to be known. She wants her voice out there because she's been dealing with this same corrupt ass fucking justice system and wants justice for her and her daughter. And the cycle keeps repeating itself. And when you're doing all tiptoeing around it, shit, like, you're contributing to the fucking problem, lady. Fuck. Making it seem like she's been hiding and only came out for a year. No, that's because you have been hiding the story for a year. And telling you, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
Supposedly to be out there about, I guess, them taking his clothes off, something about his taking his clothes off, maybe, I don't know, several people being around him and moving him or taking his clothes off or something in that line.
While he was on the roadside.
Yes.
While Noah was on the roadside.
Yes. So, anyway, we were discussing that, and I had told her, I said, yes, I had heard about this video, but I have not seen it. I was sent.
You lying bitch. What are you doing? Stop it.
I'm upset.
That is just unequivocally not true. What are you talking about? You know it exists and you haven't seen it. Are you kidding me right now? Did they get to you? Is that who bought your Maserati, Kathy? Asking for a friend.
Say what?
Husband just got a brand new car too. Funny to have a change of heart and the timing is impeccable.
Here go what?
Could just be a coincidence. Said what I said. Allegedly, in my opinion.
Now, what she is saying right now, like, I need to go nerf her up right now.
Pew pew, motherfucker!
What?
A picture. And I was showing her that, and I had pulled it up, and I was showing her a picture, but it wasn't a very clear picture.
A picture. A picture. A picture. Oh, a picture. I can't deal.
What's up, Pup Muffin?
A picture. A picture.
That's what she's saying that she showed her?
A picture.
Wow. Now she's standing.
No, this is the video of the scene of Noah before the sun comes up, before anybody's there, and there is 3 officials, one being in a firefighter uniform, the other one being in a police uniform, the other one being Bub. Oh, did I say that out loud? Crap. I mean a plaid shirt and Wranglers. And they being whoever was in this video, were taking off Noah's black shorts that he had on. Say what?
Correct.
Now it's just a picture.
Jam sandwiches. Are we talking about Caden Presley? I mean,
No, KJ. Who's KJ? You talking about Kaysen?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So that's the one that from the screenshot that was talking about Mikey. Oh, he didn't do it intentionally. Remember, because he was living with me and he was in a facility, and that's that kid's initials.
That's right. And I made a mistake. I said it was the other guy that slapped him. Right.
Yeah, that's BS.
Yeah,
BS.
Like what this lady's saying right now.
Yes.
Why?
What's your question, Edwina?
Yeah. To where is thy question? Janet, you're absolutely fucking 100% correct. She didn't know any more than we already know.
Yes, Eddie.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, and Kayla Jane, or actually her last name is, never mind. But yeah, that's her. Yeah, and I've actually been talking to her, and her story completely like floored me. broke my heart and enraged me all at the same time. So I'm going to do my due diligence to do what I can to help her as well, because this fucking place needs saving. It's fucking terrible.
Is it credible?
Yes.
Because we all wondered where Noah's black cat was. And
Well, the only reason why they don't have went in and got the cameras is because they're fucking lazy, because everything in that casino is on camera. They came in, 3 of them came in and threw a hat away in the trash can in the male restroom and walked out.
was it just a hat? How does she?
Just a
how
hat.
do we know it's just a hat.
Because she went in the bathroom. She was cleaning whenever they came in there.
Oh, so she's just okay.
Mm-hmm.
She's a fumbler.
Yep. She's a toilet scrubber.
So there was no wallet, no nothing inside the hat.
Just a hat.
Wow.
I still talk to both of them, but I'm a little I don't really I keep one of them at bay because they went over there to the dark side and started giving information to Warlike Raph, so. But I still talk to both of them. I talked to one of them and give her shit because she did that, but Kennedy is she just recently lost her mom, so she's kind of she's going through some stuff.
How's she doing? I mean, like,
she's hanging in there, but you know she's you know, some days are better than others.
Right. What the fuck? Why? Okay, like here's if you didn't want your name or whatever the fuck anything attached, you don't even mention it. Don't even fucking say anything about it. But you just put yourself on fuck street right now. Why?
Bizarre, isn't it?
Like, I'm going to say this interview was, in a sense, worthless, but not really, because it's like, oh, wow, deception.
Right, yeah, because I was on the fence about her, and it completely pushed me to the other side.
Right. It's like, toma, right in front of our faces.
Yeah, like, because all the rest of the shit she would tiptoed around, but this right here that she's saying is a fucking flat out lie.
Right.
Why?
Someone in a uniform. I couldn't tell what kind of uniform it was. It was before the sun come up, so it was still kind of dark. But you couldn't.
It was dark, but Noah was under fucking headlights. What are you talking about?
And looking up to the left. Remember that story. Remember, create it in your head and act like you're telling it like if you believe it yourself.
And I know for a fact you're fucking lying, bitch.
Didn't make out who it was, but the shirt and she said that she thought that was a uniform of. And then I said, well, I think so too. But I guess she thought it was a video because she asked me if it had any sound, and I said no.
So now we're supposed to believe that Caden's mother is just so unintelligent that she just looked at a picture for a long time and thought it was a video on loop or something.
What the fuck? She's like, yeah, is this a video? Because it seems to be.
Yeah, and the camera goes from pointing up to pointing down to pointing back up and pointing back down, but it's a picture. Bitch, sit down.
Is there audio to this? What the fuck?
Yeah, this still shot?
Yeah, and I made a mistake by thinking she was Stevie and called her out of her name, and she was smart enough to say something to Kaylee and shit. I'm like, who is that?
Who the fuck's he talking about?
So I know this lady ain't no fucking stupid, dumb shit. What the fuck?
So she's very intelligent, and she's very much so adamant about
She's
not
on.
just proving that her son's telling the truth, but she wants justice for Noah just as much.
Right.
And that because those both are the same thing, because proving Caden right is getting justice for Noah, because he's the only one that's not fucking lying, and he's the only one that didn't have to be backed into a corner and to come forward. He did it on his own, and he also didn't just leave out the parts that made him own self look bad. He threw himself under the bus so many times, and he stopped and corrected the narrative so that it wasn't about the beer cans. He could have just let that dude keep talking and saying that it was Renee. He said, "No, sir. No, sir, that wasn't Renee. It was actually my idea to do that." If that doesn't tell y'all something, I got some fucking lakefront property right now to sell you in my swamp, and it's fucking beautimous.
Right. And Caden's mom is not in how would you say,
she's not on the list.
An unreasonable person. You know what I mean? Because she didn't give me a bunch of shit when she came in the chat and shit and was like, "Hey, motherfucker, isn't you the one that said, bitch? My bad."
Oh no, I caught that.
She was very forgiving, and
I had to talk her off the ledge because she was coming to shake your ass. Lucky I checked my messages that day.
So she's not an unreasonable person, you know what I mean? She was like, "Yeah, dude, you're good. Just keep reading."
Don't let it happen again. I still got my shank candy.
Right. I'm like, I don't know how these snappity chats work and stuff. Kaylee's got to tell me this. I keep thinking it's SS, it's screenshot now, but I thought it was, the Nazi.
Fucking swastika. Oh god.
Oh shit. No, but she's trying to make her like she's a buffoon. I don't like people like that.
Especially when you're trying to insult somebody else's intelligence to fit your narrative when you're lying.
Absolutely, 100%.
I don't really know how. I don't. Donna Bond is.
Who's that?
The one that the Bub and them got the restraining order on. Avery and Carter and them. One that calls everybody a twat waffle. And supposedly the person in the SUV pretending to be a PI came and tried to strong arm her for her phone. Fucking like it's a goddamn Lifetime movie or something. Next week on I Almost Got Away with It.
Right, damn.
World's Dumbest Criminals.
Next week on I Want to Be Relevant.
Yeah, next week on what's something on that fucking dramatic ass show? My Super Sweet 16.
Next week on Bob's.
Next week on Hannah Montana. You get the best of both worlds.
Fuck, man. I can't believe this lady's doing this. I don't know, like, if there's a strategy to it. Like, wow, okay. But this is...
I don't know what it is. Because if it's to fuck shit up, that's the only thing I can say she's been good at.
Yeah.
Because she's got no credibility in my book, boo-boo. Actually, quite the opposite. Holy crap, writing books in the chat.
That's not Fumbler. Fumbler can't do that.
Yeah, stop doing that, Bambi. Let my cousin off of the chain. Do I think what happened or not? The shorts thing? What do you mean? Or in general, like, there's way too many fucking elements of this for you to just be saying something like
Right.
that. What happened? Define it.
Specific, please.
Be specific.
Yes. Do we think Noah passed away? Yes.
Well.
Do we think that he was married? Yes.
She's a bit what it's called. What? She's a bit what it's called bi? I mean, I don't know what she does in her that kind of time, but I know she's full of shit.
She's a bit what's called bi.
Like into both genders?
Oh.
That kind of bi?
Is she a lesbian? Is that what you like? Is that what you're saying? Is she a lesbian?
Well, she's had way too many husbands for that. If so, she ain't a good one. Sorry. Maybe that's why they don't work out.
What the fuck?
Maybe she's a hobosexual, you know, someone that gets in a relationship for a place to live.
She's trying to get that fucking insurance money. But these motherfuckers ain't dying, so she just leaves and gets on with the next one. I don't know. This
Or she catches them in bed with their sister or something.
Damn.
You went like her. You asked that because of her haircut? I'm not judging if you did. Oh, well, this just got awkward. I'm going to push play now.
She kind of looks like... Could she be related to Watcher?
Her vision's too straight. COVID brain on my part, sorry. I'll allow it. This time. Next time I'm gonna get the whip out and start giving you lip poundings. You bloody little wanker.
She ain't no sniper.
I'd have to take the fucking I'd have to take the belt off of my doorknob to whoop you with it. Mom! Let me out! I'll be good!
It's all good, jam sandwiches. I know how that COVID shit is. This shit does fuck up the head.
Not me. Y'all better fucking keep that shit somewhere else. Don't be giving that through the fucking y'all's little. Keep that shit over there. I've never had it, and I don't want it.
Yeah, it sucks. The first time it was rough, but the second time it was like blah.
The first time? Oh my god! You had it more than once?
Yeah.
Fuck my life.
It ain't like
Gotta be some California shit.
No, it's fucking some world fucking Wuhan shit. No, what the fuck?
No, I'm saying getting that shit twice. That's gotta be some California shit.
Oh, negative.
Most people I know have never had it once.
Really? That's a good lord.
That's the Florida shit. Nah, bitch. Yeah, that's Grady Judd and Governor DeSantis. Don't put that shit on. Yeah, that's where that goes down to. God loves everybody, remember?
Right? And we got fucking...
I'm out of Hot Pockets and Twizzlers.
We got fucking...
Fuck Dino Nuggies.
And this motherfucker's inviting Wuhan over here and shit. What the fuck?
Weather balloon. Let's wait until he gets over the entire United States and now we'll shoot it down. Shoot him! Shoot him!
Right. When there's something
it's
in there,
mission complete.
Want to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, just keep spraying or fucking, surveilling. Just keep on going. But there's another military base. There's another military base. Just keep on keeping on.
And I guess
fuck.
This was like the first one, and it was like, oh snaps, really?
Told you, I don't think Betty's ever had it either. So
That's how you know when you have a president that is like
a fucking idiot.
Yeah. If that was Trump, Trump would have been like, motherfucker, as soon as that shit fucking got air in that month, they would have blown it up.
T and J, who the fuck are you talking to?
T and J. Tom and Jerry?
I know who he's talking about me, but who are you talking to?
Huh?
And he ain't even had to read today, so shut your fucking mouth, S.A.
Yeah, got replaced by AI and shit. And they still couldn't even read.
Yeah, he couldn't even say Presgrove right. Fuck my life. Fucking worst $7.99 I've ever spent.
Robin for the win.
Fucking bitch.
I'm the bestest gibber reader ever.
Yeah, apparently you can't just put in their dialect and let it go out. They read it as it is, and that's just not good.
Right? They got confused as fuck when it was like period and what?
Hey, Kimmo.
Hey, Kimmo, how you doing? That's how you know you could fuck up an AI. Just put a period and then start the sentence with and it's gonna go.
Oh, I see now. I didn't see them before. T and J, that's a name. Okay, Eddie, I just thought you was being a little dumb. I'll allow it.
Oh, there's a person in here, T and J.
I was like, why are you fucking being so lazy? Bitch, type their name out. I'm the lowest scroll through the who the fuck's name starts with a T? Who starts with a J? And then I'm mad, like, bitch, why are you doing this to me? My bad. I digress. Fucking Eddie, always distracted, man. Don't be answering questions in the chat all fucking correctly and shit. How dare you? I'm fucking muting now, goddammit. Then I get triggered every time I hit mute because in my headphones it says mute on. And I'm like, bitch, are you calling me a mutant too? I ain't saying sorry. I ain't never saying sorry, bitch. How do you get an at? You put an at symbol and then you type in the I ain't sorry, bitch. Fuck you. Catch me if you can. I'm sorry.
I can't breathe.
Don't die.
Where's Blue Diamante? I think I just got some fucking vertigo. I tried to get up and I was like, whoa.
Sit your ass back down.
True that. 176 police degree.
I give up. You probably should. White flag.
All right. I think I'm good. I think I can handle this. Hello, T and J. I don't believe I've seen you here before. So welcome.
Sorry for the shenanigans. I swear we're sober. If you're scared, go to church. I ain't passing shit. What Pookie? What is this Pookie you speak of? And how do I pass it? To the left, motherfucker! I don't know why they call it vertigo. They should call it vertistop.
I'm like fucking drenched like fucking right now. What the shit?
Vertistop. He said, I don't know why they call it vertigo. They should call it vertistop. Oh god, the Pookie's in chat. Oh, I'm stone cold sober, like Stone Cold Steve Austin. Kaylee acting like she don't know me. Stranger danger.
I still
Oh fuck! Look at the profile picture. Oh god. Yeah, fucking get rid of your own son. Pass the jinglet away.
That's not what that thing is.
Pass the jinglet away.
Fuck. Oh, that shit's tight.
Oh gosh. No, man, you just use a little bit of winks. You know.
You just torch that shit. Fuck that. It's got to be good with the twist, if you know what I mean.
I guess, man. That sudden temperature change sometimes means like
Pookalators! Mount up.
may pop. I mean, will pop. A wet napkin should do the trick. Make sure that shit's 100% cotton. That polyester will fester. Easy tapping on the glass, SA. I know you're just trying to get one more. I like the way it feels against my balls. Shut the fuck up. Where are we all the party people?
With Ken and Mike, and has spent some time working with them. And we saw that he posted a TikTok related to the Noah case, and it kind of caught our interest, and we didn't realize that he knew the same people we knew. And so we were on the podcast with him, so we wanted him to come on the Noah podcast to really kind of hear his law enforcement take on this, to talk about the crime scene, talk about the medical examiner's report, and talk about, what if in fact, if the FBI would be working on a case like this, what would they be focusing on? What is law enforcement focusing on? All those kind of relevant questions to this murder mystery that we still don't have hardly any answers on. We just have a lot of questions. So Stuart, thanks for being on the podcast. So let's talk about a little bit your first impression when you first learned about this case and the mysterious death of Noah Presgrove.
Well, on our TikTok channel, Texas Crime Travelers, we look for interesting cases to comment on, and and maybe try to give an experienced law enforcement perspective of some things that maybe are sometimes in the news that there's some interesting twist to it, and this case is it's a horrific death of a young man, and it's so and it was in the news, it was unsolved, and so that's the kind of things that we look for, and so when I initially read about the case, it was I did not read the actual autopsy report. I think I read some comments about it, or I'm not sure it was actually public at the time, but it was he had received some horrific injuries that he'd been at this party in Oklahoma, and I think a two or three day bacchanal of teenage drunkenness and stupidity that ended in this unfortunate death of this young man, Noah. And when just hearing the circumstances of the party, that the injuries that he received, I think maybe there had been a couple of little slight altercations with a couple of the male party goers there, and that I just was speculating that it sounded like that maybe the crowd had turned on him, and maybe this was a mob beating. But I've read since then I've read the autopsy report, and I'm going to kind of withdraw that thought that it's just a whole bunch of people beat him up, because some of the injuries that he received are, I think, well beyond what just some other teenagers could do. So I think there's some very suspicious things surrounding this, but I don't think this was a mob beating.
Yeah.
What do you think it was? Just by reading the report, just by reading the report.
I mean, he sustained some massive injuries to the head. The skull was split in two. It was fractured just all over the skull. Massive internal bleeding. For instance, like both of his shoulder blades were fractured. And the thing that jumped out at me was that his one of the chambers of his heart was lacerated, was cut. And so that I mean, there would have been massive. I mean, that in itself would have caused death pretty quickly. And I just don't see, in a situation where you have a bunch of drunken idiots beating on somebody, that no doubt that could cause some very serious injuries. But I don't see that causing a laceration to the heart at all. So what I think, I saw a comment by one forensic pathologist, that was just commenting on it, that's not involved in the case, who said that Noah was most likely hit by something fast and heavy. And I agree with that. I do think that there was some type of a vehicle injury that caused this. But I'm, where his body was found, I still find very, very suspicious.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that there was no real blood at the scene, if he had been hit on the side of the road, that just didn't make sense to us, that he would be hit on the side of the road and there wouldn't have been evidence of that.
Yeah.
There was no debris, there's no blood, there's nothing. So was he moved there or dumped there?
I think so. I really do. Now, I think where he was found, there was only a slight little stain of blood that was there. There was not a massive amount of blood. But
at Vistaprint, we print everything to show off your brand. So you can print it like Simon's Restaurant, an outfit.
That said, in reading the autopsy report, he had almost a third of his blood volume that was either in the lungs and inside the torso from the massive internal bleeding. That in and of itself could have been would have caused the death. Certainly would have been unconscious from that. And so I have, in 29 years in the FBI, I only worked a couple of cases that involved murders or death, and in those cases, it was pretty obvious what the cause of death was. It's only since I've retired as a private investigator that I've worked a number of murder cases and really gotten into this stuff. But I did have a shooting case where the victim died very, very quickly, but there was almost no blood at the scene. He bled internally, massive amount internally, but virtually no blood at the scene. And what happened was the bullet just happened to graze a major artery, and he bled out very quickly. But it just the bullet didn't exit. It was a small entry wound, and so there was almost no blood. So sometimes, when we think, well, someone gets a massive injury like this, there's going to be just a lot of blood, but that's not necessarily true if the internal injuries are so severe that, the person dies pretty quickly just from bleeding to death inside, and then that heart stops pumping. So, at that point, depending on how the body ends up, that blood may not have anywhere to go. It just pools inside the body.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that makes me think that it wouldn't be like that is that the fact that he had a head wound, and head wounds bleed. I mean, you have a little tiny head wounds, it's gonna bleed, and he had like a 4x2 head wound.
He had a massive, I think a 4-inch
divot
hole in his head,
and that's the only thing that leads a lot of people to believe that it didn't happen there.
Yeah, agreed. And I fully accept what you're saying on that. There's no question there would have been more blood than what you see in that that's on the side of the road there, in that little stain there, without a doubt. If you want me to get to the meat of what I think might have happened.
Sure. That's why you're here.
So we know that around 3 a.m. He's involved in this incident with the four-wheeler where they're just clowning around on the thing. And another thing too, the autopsy report, he had 0.1 alcohol, a 0.1 alcohol level. So he was absolutely, without a doubt, slurring drunk. So, so they're horsing around on these four-wheelers. He has this rollover incident, but by all accounts, he's, just a typical 19-year-old. He's good to go. So no real injuries from that, maybe a scrape or two, but he's all dirty and comes back, showers, or actually, I guess, needs help. He's so drunk that some of the girls, help him clean up, and he gets on this white pair of shorts, and then wants to sleep. And I'm not clear from what I've read if it's that he wants to sleep, just go to sleep in the host girl's bed, or if he wants to sleep with her. So I'm not, I tend to think that he's wanting to sleep with her.
Yeah.
Because when she says no, then he's all of a sudden he has to leave to go cool off. So I can't imagine that, that if he just wants to crash in the bed, that's going to, and she says, no, why don't you go sleep on the floor or whatever. I can't imagine that is going to, create too much anger. But again, drunken teenagers, I guess anything's possible. But I tend to think that there was some kind of a romantic thing going there, and emotions got high, and he ends up with some girl somewhere that somebody at that party did not appreciate him being with. So I think at that point, emotions are high. I think someone ran over him there on the property somewhere. Either he's walking down that road. There are abrasions on his skin that tend to make me think that it was road rash. If you fall on the pavement, obviously you're going to get scraped. So he did have some abrasions, and there's some talk of some black material. Where the farmhouse was in relation to the highway where he was found, obviously it's perpendicular because the house is off the main highway. That looks to me in the photographs I've seen and on Google Street View, it looks to be like a gravel type road, a Kalachi road we call them. So that clearly is going to give him a little bit of road rash, but if not a lot, maybe even more than the regular pavement. But they said that in the autopsy, there's a description of some black material. I have not seen the autopsy photographs. I'd love to actually be able to.
Yeah, no one has. The only people that have them is OHP.
Exactly.
They haven't released those yet. But I'm gathering it could be just specks of asphalt.
Yeah, exactly. Which tends to make me think that might be from that gravel road where the farmhouse is. Although it doesn't look like it's dark colored gravel from the pictures I've seen, but that doesn't mean it couldn't be. And I mean, who knows if maybe if this was done in anger or if it's done in clowning around. But nonetheless, he's struck by something heavy and moving, which would to me indicates a vehicle. I think there's been some speculation that he was maybe dumped or fell off a moving vehicle. I just don't see that. I
don't see that either.
I don't see how that could not cause this level of injury.
I mean, I agree with you. I think it could have been the side by side he was run over with.
Do you think it's possible someone hit him in the back of the head and then ran him over with a ATV or something?
Possible.
Like hit him in the back of the head with something like a weapon or something.
Yes.
Like out of anger,
the
just
wound
like
that's on the top left of his head.
Because that's kind of what we thought. Like maybe someone was angry. Noah takes off. Someone's angry. They go after him. When you're drunk, you don't realize like if you hit somebody, they could die. Like maybe they just maybe they hit him not accidentally, but they didn't realize they hit him hard enough to kill him. Like I don't really think it was planned.
Right. I don't think it was planned. Because I don't think anybody at this party. I don't think anyone there's no indication that anyone were enemies. These were the popular kids. At the party, they were having fun. This thing was going on for 2 days. I just think with the combination of drunkenness and emotions, and some incident happened where it just sent emotions sky high. There's some type of a fight, maybe an altercation that leads to someone either getting on the side by side or in a car or a truck and doing this, and then it's an oh shit moment, and so then from there, you got the girl that it's her family's property.
It is no measure of sanity to be well adjusted to an insane society. I was born in 1947 in Glendale, California.
No one wants to get in trouble. I think people got together at that point and they moved this body. Again, little things that kind of add up that this was staged. Is he's nude, he's fully naked, except for a Hey Dude shoe and an Adidas shoe that was not his. That's pretty much explained. When he was, I guess, going to leave, he couldn't find one shoe, so he just took another one that he found. And he's wearing a white pair of loosely fitting.
Well, that's the question. We don't know if he was wearing a white pair of shorts
because there's no photos.
There was another.
There's no photos.
Caden, when he went down there at 5:25 after Jack came in to tell them that Noah was dead, Caden saw him wearing a black pair of shorts.
Yes. Yeah, and you see him in some videos. He's definitely wearing the black shorts.
Yeah. And then there was a pair of white shorts folded next to him, which we thought was weird too, because who would fold them? I mean, that's something a girl would do. I don't think a guy would fold them.
Or why would you disturb? Couple things about that why would you even touch anything in the crime scene because someone said they folded it? Number one. Exactly. Number two, if they say when they arrived, the truck driver who actually discovered him, and the time frame when 911 was called, it's almost 45 minutes.
Yeah.
What are you waiting for 45 minutes?
Yeah.
That's usually, you see an accident, whether it's a fire or someone get a hit, that's the first call you make is 911.
Absolutely. Yep.
So that it's
in an account that I read, the shorts were found. Pardon me. The shorts were found by law enforcement a few feet away from the body, off into the ditch, I think. And at some point, someone from law enforcement actually folded the pants and put them near the body, which I find that egregious. Nothing should have been moved until it was photographed. And then
They would
at
have
that
bagged.
point, then it's going to be bagged. It's not going to be moved and placed by the body. There is no reason on earth that should have happened.
Especially since you're like pretty much less than an hour of daylight to come up. You know,
Yeah.
it was dark when it happened.
Right.
When the people showed up, there was headlights. You couldn't really see why move anything at that point. The road was blocked off, so you didn't have to worry about traffic.
Right.
So,
but the shorts, whether they were the white shorts or the black shorts, I wasn't aware of the controversy about which ones they might have been. But nonetheless, shorts were found near him, and I think at least what was available for the autopsy, I think there was an indication that there was no damage to these shorts. Whereas we know that he did have some abrasions to his buttocks, so that means that his naked butt hit the ground somehow, because we know that there would be some indication of damage on the shorts. Okay. That said, I don't know if the thought in staging this was that, if he gets hit, it's going to knock him out of his shorts. Well, I promise you, it would have knocked him out of the Hey Dude shoe at the minimum.
Absolutely.
Okay. So someone put that shoe back on him. If this is a hit and run, that shoe would not be on his foot. There's no question about it. So the other thing too that bothers me is, he had damage to his teeth. I think there was a molar that was split in half, and there was a tooth. I don't know if it's the same one, but there was a tooth found just a few feet from where he was on the road. And then I think a piece of a chain that he wore. Mm-hmm. Again, if whatever hit him was going fast enough to cause the damage that it caused, that tooth is not going to be just laying just a couple of feet from him. It's going to go
flying,
zooming. Yep. Okay. So again, that's another thing that leads me to think this thing happened somewhere else, and I'm presuming that it happened somewhere near that house. And then this was staged to make it look like that Noah had left the party, because I think that there have been some accounts that this is not what was not uncommon for him. He'd get a little mad and then leave the party and come back, and then so this is what the story is going to be, that he just stormed off mad and unfortunately got to the highway, and then he was died of a hit and run. But man, it just doesn't fit. And again, Cindy, something you said, that there's no debris, there's no indication that a car was damaged at all. And in saying that, I haven't seen anything that's at least publicly available as to whether the police examined and looked at every car, every vehicle that was at that party, and anybody that was there. I would hope that that the police have compiled all of that information, what they were driving, and if all that's been examined, if that has happened, I haven't seen that publicly available.
I do believe that they, at this point, they do not believe it was a hit and run.
Yeah.
That's why they changed it to suspicious death.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we speak to the OHP pretty often, and he basically said, he goes, we're not ruling it as a hit and run. He told me, I know the guy who actually showed up there. I know him personally. And he said, yeah, when I showed up, they were telling me a hit and run. As soon as I rolled up on there and I saw it, I go, this doesn't look like a hit and run.
Right.
And so it's like, because that's the first thing. And then here's an OHP guy who basically deals with traffic accidents on a daily traffic deaths on a daily basis. Yes. And he said it was immediate that the first thing he saw, he goes, this looks strange.
Yes.
Well, I think going back to your theory, Stuart, I think that seems pretty in line with what a lot of people have been saying, is that emotions were running high. Maybe he was involved with someone at the party that upset someone else, and they followed him when he left. Yep. And somebody hit him. To me, it just feels like somebody hit him in the back of the head with a wound like that. It just didn't.
Yeah, because if he had fallen backwards, because it's in a weird place. It's right here.
It is.
So it's not. If it was back here, I would say it's something where he fell.
Right.
But it's like right here, and if you fall, it's in that one place where, if you fall backwards, it's not gonna hit. It's gonna be here.
Exactly. Again, yes, that doesn't fit. If I'm just standing up here in a car or bus or whatever just plows into me, obviously that's going to cause massive damage right here. But, you know, this probably is going to receive some kind of a fracture, you know, when the whole skull is impacted, you know, so we're going to see fractures that go back, but you're not going to see this avulsive wound that they describe in the autopsy. It's just, you know,
and it's so specific in size and shape.
Yes.
So, I mean, it could have been a rock, you know, when he fell down. I mean, you could, but it's pretty well defined based upon the, you know, the description and the way it's laid out. It definitely looks like someone hit him from behind.
This is a separate wound by itself, and that the wounds that are consistent with, you know, some type of an impact from something heavy and fast maybe have done. This sounds pretty cynical, but you know, that could have been done to actually make it look like a hit and run, to cover up, you know, a fight where maybe a fight went too far, and this was a way to try to.
Or if it was just a friggin' accident and they didn't know what to do. I mean, it's like, you know, that's the other
what
thing.
I was thinking. Like, if someone hit him, let's pretend someone was angry and they followed him out and they had a golf club or the butt of a rifle or something, and they just hit him in the back of the head and he goes down, and then they realize that he's not alive anymore.
Yep.
Then what? Then it's a panic, right?
Then it's
What do
like,
we do?
Mm-hmm.
Or, like Rob said, maybe it was a fight that went too far. It started with someone hitting him in the back of the head, and then they start beating him up, not realizing that he's already passed. Like, that's it. Then what do you do? So maybe there's like these. I mean, that's just my feeling, is that maybe in a panic they just started doing all these things, thinking this was the best thing to do to cover up what happened because they were scared.
Yes, scared, panicking, not, you know, thinking, oh my God, we're all going to jail, so, you know, let's try to do this and make it look like it was an accident and Noah ran away.
Exactly.
Yes, and I'm hearing too that maybe some of their stories are starting to diverge a little bit, and that you know, hopefully something's going to break on this, because the people at this party know what happened.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I would hope, I know that it's getting, the technology is getting better and better all the time as far as pinpointing where.
So I'm thinking like this, right? Everybody keeps saying the autopsy, but there's no photo. Nobody's seen photograph with this autopsy, right? So what if the autopsy is fudged? It's not like, you know, you know, a well done, even though it really wasn't a well done autopsy, but like they fudged some shit on it. You know what I mean? Maybe there's more injuries than others or whatever the fuck. But what if this happens? So Noah and Jack maybe go out towards this river or some shit, and maybe in the truck they're gonna talk some shit over. You know what I mean? I'm fucking your girl, you're finding them, some bullshit like that, you know. And maybe other kids are with them, and maybe the golf clubs are in this fucking truck or some shit, and they're out there fucking trying to talk some shit out, but you know, they can't do it without into a fight. I don't know. Maybe one of them hits him in the head with the fucking club, and they think that he's dead, like they're saying. You know what I'm saying? But then they keep saying that he's been hit. I don't think he was fucking hit, rather than he was ran over. You know what I'm saying? So he's already been fucked up. You know what I mean? Maybe they think he's dead, and it's like, okay, let's make sure, or some shit like that. And then it's like, oh fuck, now what do we do? Let's take him out to the fucking highway and say it was a hit and run.
Exactly. Regardless, there was no, if he was hit at the highway speed,
right,
just walking, there wouldn't be much left. Not to be vulgar, but his shorts wouldn't have been right there neatly folded. The tooth wouldn't have been. They would have been lucky to find anything.
Right, and exactly how he said, if a police officer picked those fucking shorts up and put them down, that dude needs to be fired, because he just fucking, you know,
tampered with evidence. And tainted the scene. Correct.
Yeah, he should have put them in a fucking bag You know what I mean? Like, who the fuck are these fucking? Are they retarded or what? You know,
I'm
and
starting
then
to think they're like super troopers.
so then, okay, we have suspicious shorts sitting here, a tooth over here, and a piece of scalp over here.
And don't forget the hair.
Right. And yeah, right. And the scalp, right? Like, don't make no fucking sense. I mean, you know, yeah, he was not, it was not a, why do they keep saying the Adidas? You know, there was an Adidas. I could have sworn we've seen him. He had Hey Dudes. Everybody fucking had. About the Adidas thing, I don't think there was another Adidas. There was fucking 2 Hey Dudes or whatever the fuck, you know. Nevertheless, that's, you're gonna tell me, okay, how did he get hit and the shorts come off but the shoes doesn't? But they're gonna put the shoes back on, but they won't put the shorts back on. Give me a fucking break. That just don't make no sense. None at all. You know what I mean? I think maybe that shit did happen more towards the fucking river. You know what I mean? Maybe they were trying to talk that shit out. They couldn't, whatever. Or it was a setup to maybe just beat his ass and went too far. Somebody hits him with the golf club. Dink. What the fuck you do? Oh, fuck. You know what? Well, let's run that motherfucker over because he got rid of his truck pretty fucking quick. And that's enough fucking pressure. You know, it's high enough that he's not going to get a bunch of shit up on his fucking, on his truck. You know what I mean? And a bunch of pressure a couple times, boom, boom. You know what I mean? And then put that motherfucker in the back of the truck and then drop his ass off at the fucking highway, 1.5 miles away. And then everybody goes back and acts like they did nothing. We were asleep the whole time.
Yep.
And the washing of the porch, what if it was them getting washed off? Not Noah, but them.
She did look wet.
Obviously, Noah would have been bleeding.
She looked wet.
Right? Oh, I thought you said
no, like she looked like her hair was wet at least.
Right. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So what if they were washing, you know, the blood off of
They don't even have a water hose.
You know what I mean? But that's just like, no. I'm thinking that shit happened because this river thing has been brought up, and it seems like, wait a minute, oh, that's a very fucking odd thing.
Right, and now it's almost like it's being brought up like everywhere you turn around now when it ain't been brought up this entire time. I'm like, what the fuck?
Right. It's a thing. Like, it's a thing. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder if Caden would know if the back of fucking Jack's truck.
No, he said they were at the party house.
Oh, so they were at the party house. Well,
they were using them all weekend, like they were hitting stuff with them all weekend, but they disappeared from there apparently.
So now I would ask him, were you hitting them close to the house, or did you go more towards the river? That would have meant that you would have had to put them in one of your vehicles, hit them towards the river and shit.
Side by side,
or the side by side even. You know what I mean? That would
make sense. That's what it was. When they were going out and shooting guns and stuff, they had the golf clubs too. And they were shooting at birds and stuff, and then they were hitting golf balls and stuff. But they didn't have. They ran out of golf balls very early on, and so they were hitting like rocks and shit that was out there in the fields where they were riding at. Okay, I do know that much. From talking to Kaden.
Towards the river, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm thinking
like now we're back in the woods and stuff on what they call the country roads.
Right.
The dirt road.
It happened back there because
keep in mind all of that property from back there all the way back toward the river is all not all one property, but it's all different plots of property that are owned by Bub.
Right.
So,
and then even this wicked witch of the lured to the river, like if it had happened somewhere back over yonder.
Right.
That to me would make sense.
If nothing else, I think that's at least where the crash happened.
Right. I don't think he was destroyed in this fucking crash. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, they would have said, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, the side by side had dents or scratches or blood or whatever the fuck. Unless that's something else that they washed off too.
Yeah, that probably what was being hosed off under the carport, them and the side by side. But if you think about it, there had to have been some kind of articulable suspicion for them to come and put it on a trailer and take it, and them not search that house. You know?
Yeah, because that was the last place.
But that was just their word of mouth. What made them believe that was what was true in all of their stories? The police. To where they made it, Jack unloaded it from his trailer and came and loaded it up.
Right.
You know, they had to have had some kind of articulable suspicion to even be able to do that much, you know, and what were they looking for? Right, the first day.
When they first showed up. Yes. Absolutely. That's why they would have looked at it. Okay. And then maybe, okay, let's go back to this fucking, the truth thingy, lie detector test. Maybe that's why they fucking, oh, you know what, Jack, would you be willing to take a lie detector test? Since this is your side by side and it looks like this motherfucker was ran over. But I'm telling you, like.
But if they thought it was a hit and run that early on, that would mean they had to have thought that he was hit and run all by the side by side. Or why would that, you know?
But he says, or whoever says, when this guy, the interviewer, that he had talked to the guy that came up to the scene and said, no, this isn't a hit and run. There's something strange by this. I don't know. When did they change the thing of death or whatever the fuck?
When did they?
Or so did they just say that, like, oh, that is what his death was? It was a hit and run, but then weeks later they changed it to something else? Or was it just verbally spoken? We thought it might have been a hit and run.
Verbally spoken.
Okay, there you go. So everybody's going off of this assumption that this is what was stated on official paperwork, that he was hit
right, but it was right. This was all. This wasn't even said in a public news conference, right? Yeah.
And weeks later, it was changed. No, it was stated just verbal. No, it couldn't have been a hit and run. So there's
it was ran with, right?
You know what I mean? So then it's like, okay, by side thing. You know what I'm saying? Like you said. Why would they go get that motherfucker? Well, somebody said this motherfucker got into an accident with a side by side. Huh? Can we see it? Sure. Drive up to the property. Oh, guys, don't put that in your truck and take it with you. Let us take it first, please. But then they don't search the house, which is
exactly
bizarre in itself. Maybe the side by side's the thing that fucking ran him over a couple times. I think he was fucked up. Somebody fucked him up, and they ran him over with the side by side to make it look like trying to make it look like a hit and run, and then they put him in the fucking highway, and then washed everything off right there on the porch.
Without a hose.
Right, without a hose. His homegirl does look wet. She looks, her hair fucking and her shirt looks wet. Right, ran over, not hit. Ran over, I think also would have helped the pressure of whatever vehicle, you know what I mean, would have did the bleeding on the inside, and possibly in the right spot, being ran over, would have dislocated his neck, or decapitated him from the. You know what I mean? That would make more sense to me. A few of us have seen a snap from the morning that Noah was found. The snap was taken at 5:27 a.m. At 5:27 a.m., according to KP, he and the 3 boys were supposed to be on the scene, but I can guarantee you that this snap is of 3 people, one of which is sleeping. The person sleeping is one of the boys that is supposed to be in KP car at the scene at the same time. I can also tell you it contains girls, and they aren't crying either. This snap was one of many taken between 5:45 a.m. that morning before the tragic news of Noah. I am not posting the pic of the kids because they are not my kids, and I don't think that it is my place. When the family feels like the time is right, they will post the complete Snapchat message. Who's this? Michelle Berry? Is she related to Holly Berry? So what does this mean? My eyes only in all that stuff. There are too many comments about this group only allowing one narrative to be pushed, but haven't taken. Oh, this is Tim Howard.
Stevie.
Oh, snaps. We'll see if it's Stevie, all right. But haven't taken the time to go through the many other posts where we only speak with an open mind. So let's discuss it here once again while it's fresh for those who only think this group is one narrative. I welcome everyone in all comments. Give me a bit of proof of why you believe someone's story does not add up. Post your proof. We can't just have he has changed his story many times with no proof. Whose story has changed or showed discrepancies that has stuck out with you? This is welcome to everyone. Avoid arguing. Tim Howard. I'll start this Snapchat, blah, blah, blah. Alicia Lee. What is it? No. My son can describe it perfectly. He saw him on the side of the road at 5:21 a.m. And what time did he call you? What do you mean? I called him. If he wasn't washed inside, even though there is video proof, and it was the patio, which I'm assuming your son told you, why didn't he call 911? Oh, Stevie, there you are. Stevie Howard, I told you not to come after my kid. Still doing it with your false narrative of I'm not accusing Caden of anything. This is not my daughter. That's not my niece. Caden didn't eat her mother to get her. Caden went to sleep after she left with her friend. I have her location and saw her moving from the house. Her mother called her and told her to pull over. I don't appreciate you posting a photo of a minor on a public forum, not something that someone who claims not to be making accusations would do. It wasn't 3:30 and I never said that time. His timelines isn't messed up and he isn't remembering anything incorrectly. He looked at his phone at 5:15 because he thought he had just went to sleep and was trying to get her bearings regarding what he was hearing come out of his friend's mouth. The reason I have stated a mile away in a private text that you somehow obtained was because if Noah was found a mile away from the house, he was not on that road at the time. Caden did not go back to sleep. Your sister did not wake him up. Stop that nonsense. He did not. He did indeed say the girls were in the kitchen dining room area crying and began calling their parents. It was about 45 minutes later when the first parent of your child's friend arrived. Where am I? Caden said you couldn't even see the sun yet. Light was just barely appearing. I too have proof of my son's timeline. Phones don't lie. Phone records, texts, and phone pings will all show that. What I stated here is fact. Caden has never said who he spoke with to the general public, and he never pointed at your dad in privacy. That's a rumor you're helping spread by posting it here. There is one thing you need to remember. My son is not a liar. Still, I have not brought up your children. Do the same for mine. People know you were one of the two adult males at the party the night Noah was murdered. Everybody has your name in their mouth. You can't silence anybody. You've lost your mind. I wasn't there. Hell, I very seldom go over there. Not sure if you know it, but my ex's family don't care much for me. Word is you and Jack's dad were there that night, Sunday night. Yeah, I wasn't there for one thing, and for two, I never met Jack's dad. It's so weird, right? I'm sorry. I'll start the Snapchat of 5:27 a.m. and it includes one of the boys who KP claimed went with him at 5:21 a.m. to the scene, but is still asleep in this picture. I'm still waiting to actually verify which boy this was for asking us to take your word, although having the other people also say they saw this in the other posts does help a little, but until we know sorry about that. I'll go set them up right now. Take the word, although having other people say it's but until we know a name and see an actual image, I can't put in the facts box. It's very intriguing though. I have seen this myself and know the identity of the boy, but will not say his name for his own protection. I understand It is not factual yet, but police have this snap, and I know the identities of everyone in this photo. I know asking you to trust me is hard because that's a ask, but this is a photo because I have seen this photo and no Snapchats can't be altered with time. This is my proof of discrepancies. I know that all LE has to do is look at the metadata from the original image. I am a photographer and know that anyone can easily upload a photo to a free online metadata browser and see the timestamp as well as how many times it's been altered and what phone it was taken with. So I don't believe anyone would actually be that stupid to alter a timestamp. I didn't have any reason to not believe you as that this actually exists. We just need to see it to believe it. That's understandable. So could you personally look at a snap or pic and be able to tell if the time or date has been changed? I do have experience with my photography at looking at the original metadata. It is possible. The issue is that sites like Facebook automatically remove personal identifying info from the Met privacy. I'm not sure if Snap does, but I can. I can absolutely look at images that come straight out of a phone. I'm out to lunch, but I'll try and post an example or a how to view metadata later. But it's as easy as Googling free metadata viewer. I sent you a PM. What is a PM?
Private message.
Oh. Duh. So you're admitting if it's one of the boys, it would make you question KP timeline because why show who it is when so much other evidence has been shown and no one will even consider questioning things? I've seen it as well. I don't believe any of us would lie. I know I wouldn't. We want the truth. For some reason to be avoided, people say you're not for Noah when that's furthest from the truth. I've checked and rechecked anything I've ever said. I have information. I have information backing anything I've said. I wish some of these other people would be more interested in the facts. Where do you see anyone sleeping in this picture? It's been hidden by the timestamp. I have personally seen this photo, but put the timestamp to cover them so they are not exposed all over the internet and torn to shreds. We've seen what's happened in the past with that. Huh? So this snap includes a pic of sleep. Yes, one of the boys who KP claims was at the scene with him when they arrived 5:20, 5:25 per KP, but yet this boy is still sleeping in this photo at 5:27 a.m.
Okay, I can't do it. I can't stand it. Okay, didn't Caden say they came back and went right back to sleep?
Yeah.
Fucking idiots. Shut the fuck up. Bing, 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 bazinga. You're done. You're done.
Where's this photo?
Show the picture then. This.
Didn't she state that this was gonna be like one of these we're gonna show proof of what we say?
Yeah, but they don't show the proof.
Good Lord, what's going on here? Gotcha. I just would anyone be up at 5:27 a.m. taking pictures for Snapchat? It will be on the internet within a matter of time. You're not keeping anything from us. I can assure you that much. Laugh out loud. I agree all sides need to be shared with an open mind. One thing I've noticed is they say JN's story changed several times, but it hasn't. The only thing that's changed is his opinion to what happened to Noah. I agree with that. With his new people's interview, people tore him apart because he no longer believed it was a semi. Oh, I didn't know they did a People thing on him, a People article, magazine thing.
Yeah. I'm not impressed.
When these same people have switched between golf clubs, being physical, beaten by other partygoers, sacrificed to Masons, etc., with more stuff coming out, I would assume it's only natural to change your opinion. What the fuck? Who said he was sacrificed to the Masons? I can't read that. Let me see. What am I looking at? Okay, case study based solely on articles published by People's Magazine. Introduction. Noah Presgrove, a promising young athlete, was found dead under mysterious circumstances on September 4, 2023. This case study examines the events leading up to his death, the discovery of his body, the investigation that followed, and the reactions from the family and the community. The aim is to shed light on the unanswered questions and the ongoing efforts to uncover the truth behind the tragic demise, behind his tragic demise. hashtag background. Noah Presgrove, we all know this, right? Was outstanding student. Activities including drinking and hog hunting on ATVs. Timeline of events. Number 1, September 3rd, 2023. Noah attends Avery Howard's 22nd birthday party. Number 2, September 4, 2023, 3:30 a.m. Noah leaves the party after a disagreement. Number 3, September 4, 2023, 6:15 a.m. Noah's body is found on Highway 81 by local authority. Anyways, details of the party.
This is People's Magazine now. You know, they don't lie.
Yeah, so they're just going to dismiss that he wasn't found by. It makes it seem like the authorities were riding by and like, oh, we found the body right here, rather than saying, know, people called in saying there is a dead body on the fucking side of a road at whatever time that was. And then the authorities came out, and yes, there was a dead body on the side of the road. So I'm already not liking this at all. The party at Avery.
Wait until they start quoting the Daily Mail.
The party at Avery Howard's home involved heavy drinking and hog hunting on ATVs, according to witnesses. Noah had a significant altercation with two young women before leaving the party in the early hours of the morning. Okay, what fucking day are they talking about, and what two young women? What altercation? This is
good question.
This is stupid. Like, and this is supposed to be facts. Who the fuck is these people?
Wait until you hear who they got that information
Let's just
from.
jump discovery of the body. Right? Let's just jump everything and just go straight to the body. Noah's body was found approximately 1 mile from the party site. He was discovered naked, wearing only mismatched shoes, with severe injuries, including a split skull fracture wound. His body was positioned on its side, knees pulled up near the white traffic line on Highway 81. The condition and positioning of the body raised numerous questions about the circumstances leading to his death. Investigation statements. Avery Howard has cooperated with law enforcement but avoided media questions. The Wilcox family, who hosted the party, expressed condolences in a commitment to cooperate with the investigation. Despite the severity of Noah's injuries, the Oklahoma State Police have not classified the case as a murder, leaving the case of death undetermined. Autopsy report incites. Autopsy revealed multiple blunt force injuries to Noah's head, neck, torso, and extremities. However, the exact cause of these types of injuries remains undetermined. Notable findings included debris in the shoes and figure on his thigh, with no vehicle parts or debris found at the conflicting accounts, and witnesses' accounts of Noah's last actions vary significantly. There are discrepancies regarding who Noah argued with before leaving the party. The Presgrove family has expressed distrust in the investigation progress and consistencies, further complicating the case. It says conflicting accounts and speculations. Where is the conflicting accounts and where are the speculations? That was it.
No, this is just like the summary of it, and then the next few pages, I'm gonna just I copied and pasted it straight from the People's Magazine.
Okay. Ongoing investigation challenges due to limited physical evidence and difficulty reconstructing the evidence leading to Noah's death. Kathy Bingham, a private investigator hired by Noah's family, is gathering independent testimonies and focusing on two individuals and the shorts found at the scene. Community and family reactions. The local community has responded with visuals, protests, and public calls for answers. A prominent banner in Duncan, Oklahoma reads, "You know what happened to me, so why don't you help?" That's pretty nice. The Presgrove family continues to seek justice, hiring a private investigator and making public statements to raise awareness. Unanswered questions. Several critical questions remain. What caused Noah's fatal injuries? Why was he found naked and with mismatched shoes? What role? Conclusion? No. Article? What are we reading? Articles from People's Magazines. Following sections provide full text articles from People magazine that cover various aspects of Noah. Host of party Noah Presgrove attended before his death speaks out says she's cooperated with police. Exclusive published on July 26, 2024, 11:06 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The host of the party that Noah Presgrove attended in the hours before his battered body was beside an Oklahoma highway is speaking out to share her condolences, but otherwise she's declining to answer specific questions in the media regarding the ongoing investigation into the teen's mysterious death in September of 2023. The attorney representing Avery Howard, whose 22nd birthday bash at her home, at her home in Terrell, Oklahoma, was attended by dozens of teens and young adults, including 19-year-old Noah. In this week's People cover story that she and her extended Wilcox family in working with investigators. Why are they saying this is Avery's house? Like she lives there?
Because she does.
Oh, she does live there.
Yeah, so does Carter, and so does Logan.
Jigga. All right.
The house used to be Stevie and Jody's house, and then when Jody and Stevie got a divorce, Stevie moved to Texas with Lance Armstrong.
Oh, okay.
And now Avery, that's Avery's house.
That's right.
And Carter's.
That's why I'm tripping. I'm like, wait a minute. Then to Lance Armstrong's. The entire Wilcox family mourns the tragic death of Noah Presgrove. Attorney Andrew Benny's statement: the Wilcox family has coordinated and cooperated with the investigating law enforcement agencies completely and intends to continue such cooperation until included. Noah, a standout high school athlete, was last seen alive by his friends in the early morning hours of September 4th, 2023 at Avery's party. Some of the attendees have been drinking and went hog hunting in an ATV side-by-side owned by Jack Newton, Noah's best friend, Jack tells People. For more on Noah Presgrove's life and death and his family's search for answers, pick up this week's issue of People or subscribe. But I don't even know what that is. Sorry. Oh, okay. But how do you say it? Soiree? But the soiree got rowdier as the evening progressed and more people began showing up, around 3 dozen at most, according to Jack. By 2 a.m., Jack says he had gone to sleep in a bedroom in the house, but an hour later, Noah got the keys to his ATV and went for a ride with several others. After tipping the vehicle its side, Noah returned to the house not long afterwards, cleaned himself up having a disagreement with 2 young women at the party who Jack was later told felt he had gotten too close to them. What the
Now we got another fucking change of the story.
Not only that,
now he
but
bathed
they're
himself.
saying that Noah went with several other people, that it was tipped over, and then he came back.
And he stole the keys.
What happened to everybody else that was with Noah?
Right.
What happened with everybody else that was with Noah?
And now he bathed himself.
They didn't come back? Right. So that made him mad, says Jack. Who notes that his version of events is based in part on secondhand information from others at the party. He told her, one of the women, that he was going to go cool off to just walk around and cool. What the fuck? And cool off. Noah last seen leaving the house and disappearing into the night at 3:30 a.m., Jack says. By 6:15 a.m., local authorities acting on two 911 calls from motorists on nearby Highway 81 found Noah's body about a mile's drive from Avery's house. Noah was naked. The base of his skull had been split in two. His spine was fractured, and an 8-inch head wound peeled back to the bone. He was laying on his side, his knees kind of pulled up to his chest a little, says Jack, who was headed out to go fishing when he spotted his friend's body on the side of the highway before sunrise, noting that Noah was right by the white traffic line off the rural roadside. Oklahoma State Police, who are continuing to investigate the death, tell people that they don't believe the Comanche, Oklahoma native was murdered, but have otherwise not committed on what exactly led to his fatal blunt force injuries. Fuck. Noah's family tells people that local authorities never searched the house where Avery's party was held. They are working with a private investigator who says she has zeroed in on some of the attendees that night and are determined to solve the tragic case. Says Noah's older Presgrove, somebody knows something. Noah Presgrove's brother has many more questions as new details of the team's final hours, exclusive on May 13th, 2024, 6:39 p.m., blah, blah. The brother of Presgrove, who was found on September 4, 2023, is speaking out as new details about the team's final hours were revealed in a full autopsy report. I'm at a loss for words, Dalen tells people. After reviewing his brother's autopsy, Noah's family has set up a GoFundMe to hire a private investigator to look into his brother's case. If she's doing it pro bono, why would they have a GoFundMe?
Good question.
The brother of Noah Presgrove, whose body ended up on the side of the highway September 4, 2023, is speaking out in the details of Oklahoma final hours. Okay. Although the 9-page report, which was obtained by people on Monday, May 13th, contained new information about what happened the night before Presgrove was found on the Jefferson County Highway by a passing truck driver. How he got there remains a mystery. We're still at square one, Noah's brother Dalen Presgrove tells people. Noah's full autopsy showed that the teen endured extensive injuries, among them split skull, swollen, lacerated brain, and broken ribs, and died of multiple blunt force injuries to the head, neck, torso, and other extremities. But how he got those injuries officially remains undetermined. The report answers some questions, but also raises many more. Dalen says, after reviewing the report, I'm at a loss of words. The investigation into Noah's death remains open. Sarah Stewart of the Oklahoma Department of Public Safety earlier this month, noting that authorities are not investigating the case as a murder. As the family waits for answers, they're also looking to take things into their own hands, raising money on a GoFundMe to hire and put new eyes. Why do they keep repeating shit? Put new eyes on solve the case. People reached out to Stewart regarding the family's intention to hire private investigators, as well as for a commitment or a comment on the full autopsy report and the narrative of events described in the report. She did not respond in time for publication. In a narrative describing the circumstances of Noah's death, including in the report, authorities say that on September 3rd, 2023, Noah, who had graduated high school that May and planned to join the military with his cousin the following year, was drinking at a house party, and then he rode in an ATV Ranger vehicle with several men. Rollover incident. What the fuck? Are we rolling over or are we tipping? Noah was alive following the incident and returned to the party. He had gotten into an argument before leaving the party. Per the summary, although the report names Noah's girlfriend as the person he got into a fight with, Noah's brother says that from his understanding, she was not at the party and that Noah was arguing with somebody else. Police did not immediately respond to people's requests for comment. When a trucker... So, who was saying that it was Noah's girlfriend?
That's what it says in the autopsy.
But where did they get that from? Like, who
I have no
said
idea.
that?
No idea.
And she says that she wasn't at the party. Correct?
I'm assuming they're talking about Avery, calling Avery his girlfriend.
Oh, well, it'd be nice if they stated such a thing.
But that's not his girlfriend.
Correct.
So who presented it that way?
Right. Something. What the fuck? Like, are they saying? But they're not even stating that if Avery, if they're thinking Avery.
Right, but that's what the family has said, that that's the inference they've made from it. But at the end of the day, they left it so open for interpretation. Everybody, who knows? I know I talked to Nevaeh, which was actually his girlfriend, and she was definitely not there. And she told me that him and Jack had been fighting about the other girl, Thalen.
That did she say that Jack banged down on that shit?
She said that Noah confronted Jack about it before the party, and that Jack lied to Noah about it, and Noah was pretty upset about it. And they hadn't really been, they've kind of just been keeping their distance from each other, and then they go to this party to try to buff everything out, and all the alcohol, and then now emotions involved, and ultimately it came to a head, in my opinion, allegedly. That's what I think.
So Noah confronted Jack. So okay, so I'm just gonna assume that Jack banged it out, and then did Noah bang out Carter? Where am I right now? Noah was alive following the incident. Okay, I said that right. Yeah. When a trucker found Noah's body along the highway early the next morning, he was naked, wearing only mismatched shoes, according to the autopsy report. More debris and grass were clumped in the laces of the Adidas left shoe than the Hey Dude's right shoe. The outline of a stick figure was scrawled on his right. It's not clear from the drawing was, or if it added by Noah himself before he died. 3 pieces of a white metal chain, as well as part of a tooth, were also within feet of his body. However, no vehicle parts, debris were spotted nearby per the report, which his brother says it was not the scene of a hit and run. But 8 months later, the strange scene still sparks more questions than answers. His brother says, why was Noah wearing mismatched shoes? Why were the shorts on the highway and not on his body? What really happened to the high school athlete? There are many conflicting accounts on that night, Dalen says. With so much time passing, it seems that the truth may never be known. No, that stories are changing. Other times it feels that they are reading off a script. It's hard to trust anyone. With party goers out of the Oklahoma home where the party took place, investigators have collected evidence from their phones, piecing together Snapchatties, videos, and texting messages about the party, but still coming up with an incomplete timeline of events, Daly claims. It doesn't make sense that the investigation has been going on for so long and there were so many people around, and yet there's still such much uncertainty, Dalen said in a previous interview with People. And it's that a good person like Noah is gone in such a cruel and unknown way. So they did what, multiple interviews?
Apparently.
Damn. Authorities reveal suspicions from strange scene where Noah Presgrove body was found exclusive, blah, blah, blah. July 15th, 2024. Jeremy Wilson has been the sheriff in Jefferson County, Oklahoma since 2017 and worked in law enforcement since 2005 and served in the military before that. And he said the death of 19-year-old Noah Presgrove. Wilson was one of the first authorities on the scene early on September 4th after two 911 callers reported seeing Noah's body while driving down Highway 81 just outside Terrell, Oklahoma. It looked awful odd, the first caller, who identified himself only as Tyler, told the dispatcher, according to audio of the call that was released to People. Under Sheriff Jimmy Williams was soon sent out. Sheriff Wilson joined him not long after, along with members of Terrell's volunteer fire department, who helped secure the scene. Nearly a year later, it remains unclear how Noah died. His autopsy report obtained by People states that he was killed with multiple force injuries, including serious head and neck wounds like vertebrae fractures, but that the cause of those injuries is undetermined. A state police probe is going on. What does that mean? A state police probe is going on. Authorities said in May that they were looking into the death as a murder. No, I'm sorry, that they weren't looking into the death as a murder. Some key details have been publicly confirmed, including that before he died with friends over Labor Day weekend, not far from where his body was found on Highway 81. But the lack of answers more than 10 months later has riled the rural community where Noah lived and fueled speculation online. Vigils, protests have been held, a banner huge hung outside a business near Boyne Duncan, Oklahoma, urges passersby to speak out. You know what happened to me. Why don't you help me? Or why don't you help? It declares alongside a photo of Noah high school football uniform. Noah's family has taken it upon themselves To also dig up clues in the mystery, both law enforcement and outside experts agree appears confounding. Did he die accidentally or in a crime? What happened to his clothes and what brought him to the side of the road before dawn that day? What I saw from the very beginning, I personally did not believe this was a hit and run, Wilson, the Jefferson County Sheriff, said in an interview, while also making clear that he was speaking only in his capacity at first responder, at first responder, as the state immediately assumed jurisdiction, giving that death was reported on. What Wilson saw that morning was this, he says. Noah was naked on his back with a couple of teeth. According to his autopsy, he wore only a pair of mismatched shoes and a pair of white printed shorts were nearby that showed no observable damage. Why do they keep fucking referring to the fucking autopsy and not referring to what the fucking people are saying? We know what's on the autopsy. Blood on the scene, but not as much as there should have been. Let me put it in that way, Wilson says. Even if you were hit by a passenger car by highway speeds that night, there should have been a lot more blood. What's more, he says, there was not a lot of road rash, like he slid, he got hit 65 miles an hour. That was not the case. The autopsy does state that Noah's body suffered some road rash-like damage. Also, according to Wilson, there was no vehicular parts. Dr. Priya Banerjee, a board-certificate forensic psychologist and an outside expert unconnected to the case, also said that the lack of car debris was unusual in the case of a hit and run. I can't look at the injuries and say I know exactly how these occurred, and that's why it's undetermined, she says. Was it a car, like a hit and run? Was it an intentional strike with the vehicle? Did someone beat him up and dump him? There's so many possibilities, and nothing about the injury helped narrow it down further. But of the blood seen, she notes that Noah's neck and would mean a rapid death and thus yield light bleeding. Is that right? Yeah. If you hit a deer, which deer get hit out here all the time? Always deers and cows. I don't care if you got hit by a semi. There is a piece of a fender. There's a piece of the under fender. There's a headlight. There is a mirror. There is always something, Wilson says. Despite searching thoroughly half a mile of the ditches, investigators found nothing, he says. Authorities did recover some, but not all, of a silver chain that Noah wore, or Noah often wore. Wilson calls another oddity. This whole situation didn't sit well with me, he says, noting the unusual inability of the scene itself to provide more insight. Can you take over for a minute? I gotta find my glasses. Come on, bitch.
Yeah. Okay, so says we've had people hit before, and we can recreate the scene and make it make sense, make it fill the gaps. The sheriff says We've had unattended deaths, suicides, that the evidence always gives us the facts. We can always backtrack and recreate 99% of the scene, but not here. Sarah Stewart, a spokesperson for Oklahoma's Department of Public Safety, has said that the probe continues into Noah's death and, citing standard procedure, declined to release documents or information on the case until the conclusion of the investigation. Noah's family, for their part, says they've been told different things by different law enforcement and say that Wilson previously viewed the incident as a hit and run despite the irregularities. The sheriff did not respond to follow-up questions. Under Sheriff Williams, in a separate interview, says he only alerted the fire department for the initial assistance on September 4th, rather than put on a broader alert that would have summoned more law enforcement and potentially created chaos. I didn't want a madhouse down there, he says. In addition to the firefighters on the scene, as well as members of the Oklahoma Highway Patrol, some locals were also present for a time, according to Wilson. Noah's best friend, Jack Newton, was among them, and so was Jack's dad, Caleb. Jack tells people that he basically stumbled upon the scene that morning as he was heading out to go fishing with his father and grandfather. He stopped when he saw a semi-truck on the road by Noah. I saw lights, so I started slowing down. I could see Noah's body in the headlights out of the truck. Tyler Hardy was one of the two 911 callers that morning and remained on the scene after reporting Noah's body. Hardy said the truck driver, the other caller, returned and waited as well. When Jack pulled over, he walked to the body, and I walked over and asked him if he knew who it was, Hardy says, and then I pulled him away from the body because he's talking about being his best friend. Like the sheriff, Hardy says there really wasn't blood there, he describes. Seeing Noah's body in a slightly different posture than Wilson did, a discrepancy that appeared in other interviews as well. It was, I'm not going to say the fetal position because it wasn't, but his legs were bent and his back was towards the road, Hardy says. His legs were towards the ditch and his head was kind of just laid there right along. His body was laid along the white line, but he was laying on what would have been his right side. Around 7 a.m., Noah's big brother, Dalen Presgrove, a teacher, got the call that he'd been found dead, and Dalen and their dad, Victor Presgrove, headed out along Highway 81 to go to the scene. We didn't know exactly where we were going. We'd go up this hill knowing if we were about to see Noah on the other side of the road, Dalen told People in a previous interview. The drive felt like a year. The months since have been difficult too. This is not some Lifetime movie for us, said Noah's cousin, Ashley Chadwick. This is an everyday reoccurrence. I feel like we probably have not properly grieved because it's been such this ongoing cycle, trying to figure this out. But Noah's loved ones have rallied around his memory, describing him as a fun, fearless athlete and an easygoing young man who planned on joining the military, says Chadwick. We can't rest until he's able to rest. The next article is what Noah Presgrove's family has learned from their own investigation of his death. We're inching closer. Exclusive, published on July 23, 2024 at 8 o'clock a.m. Standing 6'1", Noah Presgrove was a natural athlete on the football, wrestling, cross country, and track teams at Comanche High School in Oklahoma, where he seemed to know everyone. It didn't matter who you were, you got along with Noah, says older brother Dalen, 24, a teacher at the school. After graduating in 2023, Noah planned to enlist in the military with a cousin. He was a good, respectful kid, his grandmother, Deborah Nana Smith, tells People in the week's cover story. Smith helped raise Noah while his mother, Casey Elliott, struggled with substance abuse throughout his youth. So many people cared about him, Smith says. That became clear in the days after Noah's mysterious death on September 4th, 2023, when his lifeless body was found along Highway 81 with grave wounds but no answers about how he sustained them. A year later, while state police continue to investigate, having ruled out murder, Noah's loved ones say they have been digging for the truth on their own. It started in part when relatives from his expansive family tree came together to grieve last year. At one of the gatherings, they were greeted by Kathy Bingham, a private investigator whose grandson is one of Noah's cousins. Distraught, the boy had called her for help. I told him, hang up, we're going to find out what happened, says Bingham. She has since spent months zeroing in on partygoers who saw Noah just before he died, collecting their statements to reconstruct a timeline of his last hours. Hopefully, the moment of his death is revealed. In April, Dalen joined into conducting his own interviews, compiling notes, and cross-referencing witness accounts. Somebody knows something, he says, speaking with people for this week's cover story. The family hopes that Noah's story will inspire someone who knows the truth to come forward. Publicly, state police say they can't reveal much because their investigation is ongoing, according to a spokeswoman. Still, records reviewed by people confirm some details. Noah's body was reported shortly before 6 a.m. local time on September 4th. It looked awful odd, one of the drivers told 911. At some point the night before, Noah also had an ATV rollover incident involving some other men, after which he got into an argument at the party and left, according to his autopsy. There's so many possibilities, and nothing about the injury pattern will help narrow it down further, says Dr. Priya, a board-certified forensic pathologist who has reviewed Noah's autopsy, which states his cause of death as blunt force injuries, but is unconnected to the probe. Priya comes back to the details. Something seems to have hit Noah on the left side of his head hard. Bingham, the PI looking into Noah's case, plans to provide law enforcement with her own collected testimony soon, focusing on two young people in particular who she believes know what happened to Noah in the shorts found at the scene, which Noah's best friend Jack Newton says he was wearing when he left the party just hours before his body was found. Bingham declined to share more details but says we're inching closer. We won't stop, Dalen adds, until Noah has justice. These articles provide an in-depth look at the various aspects of Noah Presgrove's case, highlighting the complexities of the ongoing pursuit of justice. All right, we're going to finish this real quick.
Cell phones are and all that. Where his body's found in relation to the farmhouse is not that far, but I don't know if the technology, can pinpoint where some phones were exactly where his body was found. In other words, that would be someone that would have been placing him there. And if that technology is available, then that's going to be pretty hard to explain.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, if they do a geofencing of Noah's phone, it would show like he was at the house, then he was over here, and he was over here if he had his phone with him. But I can't imagine that a 19-year-old kid, even in a drunken stupor, would leave the house without his phone.
Yes. I mean,
I don't believe that.
Yeah.
There's no way. These kids it's attached to their body.
What's a little bit disturbing is that they were posting stuff all night. There's tons of social media photos, videos that kind of shows Noah, and they were writing markers on him, and and there was some jabbering between him and his friend.
Stuff you would expect at this type of party, and then it just kind of goes silent.
Yeah, and then in that one video, you see that one. I think Isaac is standing in the background. He's got a rifle. He's standing there. So it's just like There's a lot of things that don't really make sense to why he ended up that way leading up to it. So in getting back to the phones and the geofencing, and I was going to say was disturbing is that apparently a lot like the case that we in the county over which we've covered and we're covering that's been going on for 11 years, there was also a party before these people went missing, and then right afterwards all of the kids' social media were scrubbed.
Yeah.
And this is what happened with this too. Yeah. As from what we've been told, that their social media accounts were either shut down or
quieted,
scrubbed,
or they're just not on there anymore.
Yeah. And
which is weird because
they were posting like at 3:41, someone posted that someone was missing, that Noah was missing.
Right.
So it's like,
and I think too, I find it suspicious that the friend shows up at the crime scene. At the time, I guess the reason is he's on his way to go fishing with his dad, and he calls the dad. I don't know. I just find that a little funky. Yeah, something about him showing up there when he did just doesn't.
Has this gone too far? Skunk water sprayed on worshippers near Al-Aqsa Mosque.
to me pass the smell test. I just find it highly suspicious, and it's one of those things that I can't really tell you why. It's just an instinct, but it just it's funky to me.
And you're talking about Jack.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, his timeline and his story has changed from because he did an early interview with News Nation, and then he just recently did an interview with People Magazine. And so there's some, and I can understand. I mean, if he was drunk too, it's late at night, he's tired, it's hard to remember things. But then you compare it with another friend of theirs, Caden, who was also at the party.
Yep.
And his timeline, and we talked to him numerous times, his timeline has not changed. And we have recordings of him talking to the police officers. We have him recordings twice, and his story hasn't changed. And he's talked to us twice. And, and he recently, his mother sent his phone out to kind of get analyzed to kind of verify if what he's saying is true. And according to what they're telling us and his attorney, it matches his statement of what's going on. So it's like, and so that's where you have to kind of really get into like into the needles here as far as the timeline, because he said 5:15 Jack burst through the door and woke everybody up and said Noah's dead, and then just went back out there. And then they went out there at 5:25, him and 3 or 4 other guys that they're friends with, and they were there for like 5 minutes and then were told to go away, but Jack wasn't told to go away.
Yeah, right.
And then he was there with his father, with the 2 truck drivers who were there, and then there was some volunteer fire department, which I believe one was a relative of the people that were throwing the party at the house. And then, then they waited 45 minutes to call the 911.
Yeah.
And those are the things we can kind of narrow down because we have data for them.
Yep.
What were the conversations happening? When OHP showed up, he wasn't wearing any clothes.
Right.
So who took off his shorts?
Right. And why?
Why?
Yeah.
Well,
who's disturbing a crime scene?
In your experience, like, why would somebody do that?
Again, it to me, it hints at that someone is trying to set this up, that, that the thing just blew him out of his pants, on the hit and run. But, that maybe the shorts would have, in an impact like that, could have, been, knocked off the body. But I promise you without a doubt that hey dude would have gone right with it. So
the shoes would have gone with it too.
And those shorts would have been dirty.
And they would have been dirty. They would have been, torn up. So yeah. I can find no logical reason about the shorts, other than that maybe, when this that's what leads me to think that maybe he didn't have any clothes on when this happened, when the original incident happened, which makes me think that maybe there was some adult business going on where someone just didn't.
Someone walked in on him with someone and.
Exactly.
Well, Caden said he saw him with the black shorts on at 5:15 or 5:25.
Okay. And you guys pretty much, if I'm hearing you right, you find Caden credible in this.
Well, listen,
I do, yes.
I find him credible. I mean, he went to, great lengths to doing this. I mean, he didn't,
there's no benefit for
Jack
him.
was his best friend. He knew Jack before he did Noah.
Okay.
So it's like,
why there's no reason for him to do
right.
it.
Yeah, he's
I
not
mean, in
getting
your
anything.
experience for a kid like this to come out and tell his story, what happened, he's going to be ridiculed by everyone. To me, there was just no reason for him to say anything.
I mean,
if it wasn't true.
He continued to volunteer, when he wanted to know why the cops didn't come talk to him right away.
Yeah.
Because he's friends with them, and then he actually called them, and then it was like a week and a half, 2 weeks, and then he goes, "Do you want my phone?" He's offering all this information to them.
He's offering to cooperate. Yeah.
Completely. He wants to find the answers, and then was told, "Well, we got the information you gave us. No problem. We don't need it." Like that, and then he literally months later, after the medical examiner's report, he contacted him again, just literally like a month ago, and he says, "Don't you guys want to talk to me? Don't you want my phone information?" And he. He was smart. He recorded all these conversations.
Good.
And we heard them. And so it was just like, they were just very casual about it. And it wasn't until he went down and spoken to them and told them something that they didn't know, that their tone changed. And So that's one of the things was really, so we feel like someone like that sounds credible.
Yes.
Well,
another thing too is there's some indications that people that there had been some cleaning up going at the house.
We know that for a fact.
Bleach and so forth. How extensive was the? I don't think there was a search conducted at the time by law.
There wasn't. In fact, I verified that with the OHP officer. He says he searched the outside of the perimeter of the house just to see. He was looking for car parts.
Right.
That was it. So it wasn't like he was looking for anything other than car parts.
Right.
To kind of see maybe this was a hit and run.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it doesn't really. Couldn't find any car parts.
And you're talking he's searching up by the house, off the road, on the gravel road.
I believe so. I don't know how close he got to the house, but he said he searched the surrounding area, right where the house was, probably closer to the road, and that was it. Nothing else. And then nothing else. And then it wasn't like they just left after that. The body was there till most of the day.
Vernon Central High School, how may I help you?
I'm calling to help you, actually.
Which was, I guess a medical examiner, a coroner came out initially and then was called to another scene. And so they left, and, apparently they don't have that many coroners in the area. So they had to wait a while for another one to come out. So he was out there laying around in the hot sun, I think pretty much until dinner time. So that's a long time, even if yeah. So to me, it's like, and it wasn't like, be different if they were doing all the crime scene investigation stuff that makes sense.
Yes.
But we've talked to somebody, another retired law enforcement who did a lot of traffic deaths, and she goes, I don't think it would take that long for one body, because if we had like multiple bodies, and it was like multiple vehicles, it could take all day.
Yeah.
But for something like this where you just have a body on a long side of the road and there's no car parts, there's no accident, there's no visible signs of anything, she was surprised that it took that long.
Yeah. And where I live in Texas, I'm probably about maybe 3 hours from where this happened. And I can tell you without a doubt, on September 4th in Texas, some places in the country, by the time you get to September, you're starting to get fall weather. I promise you, in early September, it is still very much summer. It is would have been spring hot.
Oh yeah. Let's talk a little bit about your experience with, because you've written a book about small town stuff. I believe it was a novel about small. Did you write some stuff about that, about small town crime? Was that you?
Yeah. A novel being that it's fiction, but no, this was a true account of a.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, of a public corruption case I worked that I worked it with a Texas Ranger and an ATF agent, and a couple of times during this case, so many odd and interesting things happened that we would say to ourselves, someone should make a movie about this, or someone should write a book about this case. And one of the things that you do in the FBI when you finish a case, when you close a case, you write a closing memo, and that's actually an old term, memo. That kind of dates me a little bit, but I think technically now they call it EC, electronic communication, but I still call it a memo, a closing memo. And you summarize the case and what happened, and just that in case if anything related to that ever crops up again, and they have to reopen it or relook at it. Right, when you go right to that case, there's a summary of what happened and what ended up in the case. So I was writing my closing memo, and it just struck me that this actually would be an interesting book to write. And so I just kind of wrote a long report describing this case, and that ended up being this book. It's called Tenahall, which is the name of the little town where it happened. And man, it had a little bit of everything. It had drug trafficking, it had illegal wiretapping, it had staged crime scenes, and involving just a small town law enforcement officer and the local drug dealer there. And I think it all culminated in a murder that, similarly to this case, to the Noah Presgrove case, had a staged crime scene. So again, it just had a little bit of everything in this case.
So saying that, do you think that Noah's crime scene was staged?
I do, yes.
And what what are your thoughts?
I'm just having to speculate, about how what maybe happened to him. But I'm almost certain that this is staged. Again, this small amount of blood, even though, like I said, he, just possible, he's got a big head wound and a lot of blood will go out of that. But depending on how the body lands, if he's dead and that heart's not pumping blood anymore, then only so much is going to come out of that head. But it would still be more than you see on the
Absolutely.
ground. So that's number one. Like I said, the tooth being so close to the body, that tooth would have been, yards away. The shorts, the undamaged shorts that are, there, the shoes still on him, this necklace chain thing that is laying nearby as well, that's also going to be just hurled yards away. So, it's just something's not right here.
Well, one of the things that we've discovered that people have told us locally is that the family who hosted the party, obviously they're I don't know if they're wealthy landowners, but they're landowners. They have influence in the county, and that they were on kind of like a do not hit list for law enforcement. Okay. Which is what we were told, meaning that, if they got stopped for
Is that
tickets,
something you've ever heard of in that area or something
just
in
like
small towns?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah.
So can you kind of elaborate a little bit from your perspective? What does that mean?
Well, I've never actually heard the term "do not hit," but what I take that to mean is that if you pull them over, basically they're not going to be arrested. They're not, they're going to
get a pass.
They're being let go. If they have to respond to any kind of calls up there, it's going to be, with the least amount of police enforcement, so to speak. And so, I always used to say that, because I did work corruption. That was the main thing I worked in the majority of my career in the FBI. That, we hear a lot of allegations about corruption. Luckily, most of the time I found that the allegations didn't turn out to be true. But that said, there absolutely is corruption. Especially in these small rural areas. The law enforcement in those areas, unfortunately, they don't make a lot of money. And so the temptation to maybe provide protection to those that can pay it, that need protection from law enforcement is there. And perhaps maybe, the influence of a, wealthy, influential citizen, is also a factor. So it absolutely happens. There's no question about it. And, and I'm not saying that it's true in this case. I don't know enough.
No, we don't know. We just know our experience because the county next to it, Love County, which we've spent a lot of time investigating for that other case for 2 missing people.
At Vistaprint, we print your brand on everything, like t-shirts, hats, totes, hoodies, and ooh, really fancy.
Young people, is that there was a lot of corruption, both going from the county sheriff side all the way up to the prosecutor. There were people who were on the Brady list. There was a lot of, the sheriff at the time that was the crime happened. He had been sheriff for 16 years. His son and him were cooking meth out of their house and harboring fugitives there. He was letting his son use his police vehicle to distribute methamphetamine to places. And, obviously he got taken, he was forced to resign, but, he got a slap on the wrist for quite a few stacks of felonies that were being charged against him in a grand jury. But he walked away unscathed because he didn't want to go to trial. And they just said, well, if you step down. So which is kind of how do it. But, we're hearing some of the same rumblings coming out of this county, and it's like right up against it. And it's hard for the family to start hearing this too, because they want answers. They want justice. Yeah. And when your brain starts getting infiltrated with, oh, well, maybe this is why this case isn't moving forward because people are sitting on stuff. Now, we know for a fact, because I talked to the OHP a lot, they are actively investigating this. So, there's rumors that they're not investigating it. We don't know if that's the case or
How
not.
does that work? Like,
for people who don't understand that, how does that work?
Yeah. So, many times the FBI might not have specific jurisdiction in a case like this, but they certainly can offer assistance with technical services, scientific and forensic help that maybe sometimes a smaller county or city just doesn't have the access to, and many times even maybe the state labs and those kind of things. The FBI sometimes has specific resources that the state and locals just don't have. So they certainly can provide help, when requested on it. And so I wouldn't find that unusual that maybe, especially if they are legitimately trying to solve this thing and then maybe they've hit a roadblock, that they'll seek out and see do the feds maybe have something that can help us? I don't. That would be perfectly reasonable, and I would think it would happen.
And how about? Because in my experience, I know a lot of retired FBI and current FBI. They don't like to be in the limelight, so they could be looking into this and just saying they're not. They may be helping, and they may not. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, that's entirely consistent. Absolutely, because since I've retired, I think some of my viewpoints have maybe changed a little bit, and I'm much more of a advocate for transparency. And in fact, one of the things that really bugs me about some things being transparent and some things not being transparent is that any case that I ever worked, you could go and submit a FOIA or Freedom of Information request and get everything in there except maybe, as I think we talked on another podcast, except maybe some personal identifiers of folks, which is perfectly reasonable that's not publicly available. But the substance of the case and everything that was done, is in there, and it's for full scrutiny out there. So when I see things that are classified and this or that is not going to be released, that really bugs me because I didn't have anything to hide. Now when you're working the case, it is better that you don't have that people in some cases don't know that this case is ongoing, because when you talk to somebody, you don't want that to necessarily be in the newspaper the next day, because sometimes people, they're not going to confide in you. They're not going to tell you things if they think, this is going to be splashed in the media the next day. So, it's a weird thing that in an ongoing investigation, there is a certain need that to keep things,
sure,
out of the public eye.
Yeah.
But, I'm, like I said, I'm much more, I lean now way more toward, hey, just put it out there and let people decide it for themselves.
Yeah. As far as the people that could possibly be involved that know information that could help close this case, what is that like from a law enforcement perspective? What advice do you have for them? Because it's like if they're harboring information that could lead to the conclusion of this case, and now we're looking at almost 11 months since it's happened, and now they come out. What is the ramifications, because it's and if they were involved in it in some way, from what we've been told by law enforcement, it's like first person that comes out is usually the one who gets the deal. Yeah,
well, and that's true. We used to call that, the train's leaving the station. If you want to be on that train, you need to cooperate now. A couple of things. So what could happen is somebody could, and I would presume, I don't know the criminal histories, if any, of any of these kids involved. But assuming that they are just normal, everyday American teenagers, they probably have a conscience. And, I haven't seen anything that indicates that Noah was not liked, that, these are all his friends. So someone probably this is bearing heavily on their conscience, but, self-interest sometimes has to battle with conscience about doing the right thing. But, it could break open by someone just having a crisis of conscience and coming forward and just and doing the right thing. The other thing that could happen, and I know this from working corruption cases, is if I'm a corrupt cop and Rob, let's say you're a criminal and we have a relationship, and I'm protecting you from doing whatever your bad deeds are. We may not like each other, we may not hang out together, but we have a mutual interest to protect each other. But that said, you get caught in some other circumstance by some other law enforcement somewhere, you've got an ace up your sleeve that you can play and, turn me in. And that could be another possibility here that somebody, that somebody could get in trouble somewhere else, on some minor deal or something, and cooperate and say, you know what, this whole Noah Presgrove thing stinks, and here's what happened. I was there. So something like that could happen, that someone says that to keep themselves out of trouble on something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can only hope. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's been almost a year.
Yeah.
Why do you think it's taking so long?
Well, it's one of those things where you think that if this, after a year later, if this thing was some kind of, put together stage deal with a bunch of drunken teenagers, you would think that someone would have either had that crisis of conscience by now and absolutely just spill their guts about what happened, or, someone there would have been, maybe not to the extent that I described as far as getting arrested and get yourself out of charges. Maybe it's just that hey, I had a fight with him and, emotions got high, and I'm going to tell what happened. I'm surprised something like that hasn't happened, if it is what we're speculating that it is, that, something went wrong and emotions got high there, and then they staged this thing. So I am surprised, honestly, that there isn't more forward movement or some kind of, development from one of the participants yet.
Yeah, I mean, because, crimes and secrets are hard to keep. Ben Franklin said it best. The only way three people can keep a lie is if two of them are dead.
It's true. Yep.
And you have more than three people you're dealing with here. You had a party full of people. Granted, there may that circle of who could possibly be involved in this is probably smaller. But at the same point, from your perspective as a law enforcement, you don't think this was just an accident?
I don't. I think it was staged. Again, I just have to speculate based on what we know the injuries to the body are and the circumstances, the somewhat sketchy circumstances, although there's quite a bit of information about the party and what was going on. But between those two things, I'm speculating what happened, but I'm almost certain this thing was staged and that he did not die where his body was found.
When you were dealing with the corruption cases, and obviously you're investigating other possible law enforcement who are doing something wrong, correct?
Yes.
All right. So when you're doing that, when you have an FBI agency, a federal agency looking into a department, because there's not everybody's bad. There's a lot of good people. There's probably probably the one person, as we always say, it only takes one person out of 100 that can screw up everything.
Yep.
And that can really throw a monkey wrench in anything.
Yep.
So how do you navigate that to try to get information, especially if that person is in a position of power and all these people have to work underneath that person? How do you attack that?
Well, again, that's something where, again, it's way more to your benefit that nobody knows that you're even looking into this, especially, the law enforcement folks. So there's a lot of so that involves surveillance. It involves getting financial records to see if there's unexplained income, that kind of thing. And a lot of times what you're kind of banking on is that the bad guy involved in this, because in the cases that I worked, again, it was a protection type relationship. And so the person that's getting protected, generally a drug dealer, is, if you just go to them and interview them, they're going to play dumb. And 2 seconds when you're out the door, they're going to obviously, the whole little criminal network is going to know what's going on. But what you generally hope for is, like I said, is a situation where that bad guy it gets wrapped up on something else.
Mm-hmm.
So that's usually the focus of the investigation is, can we run someone against an informant? Can we run someone against that bad guy and maybe get him involved in some type of criminal violation that now we have leverage over, and now he can cooperate to try to help himself against the dirty cop.
It's crazy. Yeah. So just so many. I mean, for such a small town, for what appears to be, a simple crime with just, it's not like some sort of big diabolical thing. And we know we know where he was beforehand, and then they found him very close to the house. I mean, they say it was like a mile away. Based upon what I looked at, it looks like it was a little closer than that.
Yeah.
And that if there was any kind of noise or anything, if they say they hit him in the back of the head, he went down, didn't realize he was dead, and they're like, all right, then they're going to run him over with maybe an ATV or a truck. I think, to me, based upon what we've seen as far as the injuries, it wasn't a big vehicle, because it would have just, I mean, we had a friend of ours who walking across the street in DC and got hit by a cab, and he was thrown 50 feet.
Yeah.
50 feet in the air. And he walked away from it. I mean, he was in the hospital, but he walked away from it, and he had less injuries than what Noah had.
Yeah.
He broke his arm, but literally.
Yeah. I mean, he was fine.
He would have been.
And he literally went 50 feet in the air.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We know it's not a hit and run. I mean, we know that.
Yeah.
And even OHP has said that. So it is suspicious. Someone knows what happened.
Yes. So hopefully, maybe again, but with a year behind us, I would have thought that the geofencing data would have absolutely told the story. But if it has,
it may have. I think they're just, one of the things that we all know with these cases, and as well as you do, you only get one shot.
Yes.
So you want to make sure that shot is a laser and not a shotgun, because shotguns sometimes will dilute the evidence. So you want to make sure, so I'm sure that's what it's going by, because we've had this, the other case we're working in Oklahoma too, and and we filter our information. The BIA's involved in it, and any tips we get, we just send them straight to them, and we don't hear back from them. We don't expect to hear back from them.
Right.
So it's just like, here's just trying to help the case. But they've said that publicly, that they only have one shot at it, and they said we got to make sure we do it and we get it right.
Right. Yeah. And again, I respect that, and I understand that you want to make sure you get it right. And if there's something, many times the evidence that you have points toward what you think happened, but it's maybe not to that level that you can prove it in court. And maybe that's what it is they just don't quite have enough, and that's what they're looking for. They're looking for that next piece of evidence that absolutely confirms what they've already got.
Because, I mean, from your perspective, do you think that he was moved and placed there and it was staged at the scene?
Yes.
Yeah, because the other person that looked at it used to be a coroner. She said the lividity, with the way the blood pooled, basically said that the crime didn't happen then. At where that is.
Yeah.
It happened before then, the amount of time.
If he was hit by like an ATV or something, would he have had tire tracks or anything on him? Or
depends on. I don't know. I mean,
I don't know. If he's, my initial thought is yes, but I don't know. Again, most of my experience has been in gunshot type, deaths and so forth, and so I haven't had a great deal of, I haven't had any experience in in hit and run type injuries. You guys with your friend having more than I did on that, but
I mean, the thing that was really that she pointed out is that the extremities were basically pretty clean.
And overall, the injuries, the really severe stuff is more on the upper body. The lower body was relatively unharmed.
Yeah.
So there's just so many funky things to this but I absolutely think minimum that he did not die there. So therefore that it's staged.
If you were a private investigator investigating this case, where would you start?
And my dad forbade me to go. I went anyway. And he was. Oh.
David.
At Vistaprint, we print everything to show off your brand. So you can print it like Simon's Restaurant and outfit your whole team. Or you can print it like Vegan Cafe Jaja and give your fans more ways to grab your brand. Print it like jewelry designer Kirsten and find a way to get noticed every day. Or go ahead and print it like Barbershop High and Tight and get totes, shirts, hats, even, fancy water bottles. Let me get one of those. Print it any way you want, because at Vistaprint, if you need it, we print it. Print it all with 25% off for new customers at Vistaprint.com.
Well, I'd start if I could get all those phones. That's number one. And I'd want to know all the vehicles, if they're, and as well as the ATV. I want to look at all of those. Was there any damage? Were they, did they go to any repair shops? That kind of thing.
Well, we do know that Jack's truck was sold very shortly after that.
Okay. So, do we, probably not well, maybe there would be photos if he sold it. Obviously, probably, I don't know if he.
Well, I mean, that doesn't mean anything. People sell their trucks all the time. But,
yeah,
I mean, yeah, they should have had some kind of record of what all those vehicles look like in pictures, just to kind of clarify that, okay, this vehicle was not involved in anything, just so that they have it. Do they have that? We don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, because that, when I very first looked at this case a few months ago, that was one of the first things I thought of, cars and phones, would be a logical place to look where your evidence is, is going to point you to that.
Well, sure. I mean, and there's talk about how people were resetting their phones the next day.
Yep.
Even when you reset your phone, the stuff still lives on the cloud. It's still there. So it might take a minute to get that information off. But I mean, I just feel like they must have something.
Yes. Do we know if there have been any polygraphs done?
There was one polygraph. Apparently, Jack Newton said he took it. I spoke to OHP. They, according to what he told me, he said it didn't appear that the polygrapher, he couldn't tell me exactly what, because the polygrapher would be the one to have to state it, saying that he didn't appear that he was being deceptive. But it didn't, but we've heard other stories where, he could have possibly altered his, the way he took it, people are saying maybe he took a Xanax or smoked some weed beforehand, because that can all affect it. So that can throw things off there. So we don't know. That's all we know, that it appears that he wasn't deceptive. He was saying he flat out passed it. He called the Noah's family, said he passed it, but that's not what OHP said.
Well, maybe from his perspective, by saying,
because they usually don't even tell you, do they?
I'm actually kind of sitting here stunned that they told you. So
no, I mean, like, they don't even tell the person they're polygraphing, and they usually don't tell them.
Well, generally the way it works is, when they they'll spend probably 30 minutes to an hour or more before they even hook them up to the machine, because really the point of the polygraph is to get someone to confess, rather than just rely on you failed. So there's a pretty extensive interview before they're hooked up. They tell them what they're going to say. All this is meant to kind of maybe
build up.
Yeah, build up, exactly. They hook them up. There's a baseline of the physiological reactions, and then based on how well they did, the examiner usually will leave them hooked up to the machine, come out of the room, let a little more tension build up, and go back in and then resume it from there. And some people will say, all right, you got me. But most of the time, they'll just still deny, even when told, you failed the polygraph. They will just say, well, the machine must be wrong because I'm telling the truth.
Yeah, and if they're savvy enough, they know that in a lot of states they can't be admissible anyway. So
exactly, yeah. So they just
even though more states are using it, there's still a lot of them that are they can't even use it.
It's
so
a matter at that point then how long will they stay there and keep denying it? And I've seen it happen for about 4 hours where it's and really at that point there's just it gets ridiculous, it's silly. So they can just it's over.
Fantastic. Well, listen, thank you so much for taking your time out of your vacation to talk to us.
Absolutely.
And we really appreciate it. We'll definitely keep you in the loop. And if we hear anything, love to bounce some more things off you as we learn it.
Love it. Yeah. Because again, I think maybe I mentioned this to you guys before. For me, I was really young when I went into the FBI. I just thought it was something that was going to be cool. But it ended up, I liked it. And what I liked about it was not so much that, I'm the good guy going out getting the bad guy for truth and justice. I mean, that was obviously that's part of it. But what really drove me some more was just solving the puzzles. That these cases are all puzzles, and I'm a puzzle solver, and so I love doing it. So again, it's not work for me. This is all interesting stuff to me, and it will always be something that I will do, regardless of whether I'm retired or not.
Well, Noah's case is a big puzzle, so hopefully we can try to find the pieces to put it together
and bring some resolution,
justice and resolution to it
to the family.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thanks, buddy.
Guys.
Take care.
I think I'm going to start cutting carbs. I need to drop my belly fat.
If you want to drop this,
start eating more of these. Starving ourselves, eating salads, and cutting out carbs. Doing this never works and only leads to more frustration.
You might think this would take years to learn, but we're going to teach it to you in 60 seconds. Watch this.
This is a metabolism killer. This is a metabolism killer. And this is a metabolism killer.
If you're over 40 and are running on the treadmill endlessly and eating salads all day just to lose a few pounds, just stop and listen to what I'm about to tell you. In your 20s, it's easy, right? Put on muscle easily, we're fit, we got tons of stamina, tons of time sometimes. But as you get older, you may not be able to lose weight as quickly or as easily. You may not be able to put muscle on so easily. And you may think or may have been told that there's nothing you can do about it. Well, that isn't true.
This is how to get in shape fast. Dr. Drew here. When it comes to cardio, it's true that it burns calories, mainly in the form of carbohydrates free in the blood. But here's the deal. After you work up a sweat, your body tends to replace those calories with your next meal. Steady state cardio can actually release cortisol. Cortisol, of course, is your body's stress hormone, and it's not what you're looking for. It could lead to further muscle breakdown. If you don't like doing steady state cardio, don't do it. Number one, it's not a great way to lose weight. And number two, you're going to hate it. If you hate it and it's not working, you will eventually give up.
Dr. Drew and my wife Susan here. We want to show you something.
You've probably seen this guy all over your feed claiming that cutting carbs isn't necessary for weight loss. Now, I know it sounds too good to be true, but let me tell you, there's more to this than meets the eye.
The science of weight loss was cracked a long time ago. It's not a trend, it's facts. Following all those like trendy fad diets, all those trending workouts that you see online is literally a waste of time. There's already a proven, research-backed way to lose weight and keep it off.
I decided to delve into this topic and do some research. Turns out this guy is a celebrity trainer who's gained a massive following for challenging mainstream advice. He claims that what we've been told about weight loss is wrong, completely wrong. I've witnessed thousands of clients on B-Shred transform their lives and achieve their best shapes ever by dedicated, say, 20 minutes a day to 3 simple practices. And you know what? It makes a lot of sense when you listen to what he has to say.
The truth is that Hollywood's elite actors and actresses, they can get super ripped because they followed a long ignored technique that was used for generations of bodybuilders and athletes before steroids were even popular. So what's their approach? Well, they ruthlessly cut through the fluff because they have zero time to waste because their next film role is starting in just a few weeks, and so they can't waste time on the wrong program.
Cut out carbs, sugar. It was just not sustainable. Boom, I gained it back so fast. This time I feel like I've done it the healthy way. I've lost 30 pounds. Just do it. Just do it. You won't regret it. You're going to see it too. You're going to be like, dang, I look good.
For a while, I just completely cut out carbs and I realized that was a mistake. After I gave the carbs back, I
dropped another 30 pounds.
You will never have to be on the treadmill again. I want to say slowly the weight started coming off, but it came off faster than I thought it would.
All these foods that you don't think that you ever get to eat when following a diet, I'm eating them and I'm in the best shape of my life. Carbs actually regulate your metabolism. Carbs are one of the best ways to give your body energy. If you cycle your carbs properly, you eat more carbs than you've probably ever eaten on a diet, and you get far better results than you've probably ever gotten.
I don't even weigh 210 pounds. You've lost me. That's insane.
I now went from a 6XL. I can now say that I'm in a large.
I had lost right at 30 pounds. My jeans were falling off of me.
So you lost
53 pounds. I went from 189 pounds to 136 pounds.
Dang.
What is the best workout to lose weight? The best way to burn fat and get in shape. It's not keto, paleo, fasting, or vegan, and it's not super intense workout. That ain't how you lose weight. I already did all the hard work to simplify all that information into a very simple and easy to follow plan that literally anybody can do. This is our body type quiz. That's a free quiz. It's 6 different questions. Legit 20 seconds. You can do it. Seriously?
Yeah, you can do it right now.
And then at the end of it, it tells you what your body type is, but it also tells you the 3 most important things to do based on what your body type is. And it's completely free. Yeah, click the link if anybody's watching this, want to figure out your body type, and I'll show you how to get in shape. You can hit that link below and take the quiz. We won't ask for your email or anything like that. Click the link below this video right now, take my free body type quiz, and get your personalized plan right now.
Hello, hello. Bounce, bounce. Yeah, everybody, I think Kaylee is fallen asleep. So I think we will call it a night. Thank you for showing support. Hope you enjoyed the information, and hopefully this case will get some real justice for Noah and his family. As for me, have a good night. And Kaylee says the same thing in her dreams.